Good morning, everybody. It is now 9:30. This is the July 10th, 2024 morning session of the Portland City Council. Keelan, good morning. Please call the roll.
Good morning. Gonzalez.
Here.
Maps.
Here.
Rubio.
Here.
Ryan.
Here.
Wheeler.
Here, we will now hear from the city attorney on the rules of order and decorum. Ann Milligan is joining us virtually. Good morning, Ann.
Good morning. Welcome to the Portland City Council. To testify before council in person or virtually, you must sign up in advance on the council agenda at portland.gov/council/agenda. Information on engaging with council can be found on the council clerk's webpage. Individuals may testify for 3 minutes unless the presiding officer states otherwise. Your microphone will be muted when your time is over. The presiding officer preserves order. Disruptive conduct, such as shouting, refusing to conclude your testimony when your time is up, or interrupting others' testimony or council deliberations will not be allowed. If you cause a disruption, a warning will be given. Further disruption will result in ejection from the meeting. Anyone who fails to leave once ejected is subject to arrest for trespass. Additionally, council may take a short recess and reconvene virtually. Your testimony should address the matter being considered. When testifying, state your name for the record. Your address is not necessary. If you are a lobbyist, identify the organization you represent. Virtual testifiers should unmute themselves when the council clerk calls your name. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And just a quick note, colleagues, you'll notice that the setup is slightly different this morning in the council chambers. July, of course, marks the City of Portland mirroring the new form of government within our city council procedures. Last fall, council approved the design for the new council chambers, which includes space at the dais for the mayor, the city administrator, the city attorney, and council clerk, in addition, of course, to the city council. That aligns with the revised city code, which notes that the city administrator is to attend council meetings and subcommittee meetings, as well as meetings for boards and commissions. As such, interim city administrator Michael Jordan has joined us today at the dais and will attend council moving forward to reflect the future system. In addition to attending council, I've directed Michael to help facilitate agenda items from the bureaus. Each commissioner, just to be clear, retains their authority to introduce council items in both the current as well as the future council structure. So Michael, welcome to the dais. I've also encouraged all deputy city administrators to attend council when able, especially when there are agenda items that pertain to their service area. And they're seated over here. I'd like to welcome them as well. Most all of them are familiar faces to you. Lastly, it's important to me that we build an executive branch that works well with the legislative branch. My vision is to design an executive branch that supports council members as legislators in order to govern as a team in a productive way to serve our community. So from there, we'll kick it off. First up, communications. First item, please, is 626.
Request of Hami Ramani to address council regarding loving streets.
Welcome.
Oh, you can sit right here. Yep.
I don't know if you know something. Hi. If you will let me pull my statement up. Okay. Morning.
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 My name is Hami Armani. I advocate for transportation dignity and justice, not simply because I yearn to see Portland become a safer, more beautiful and welcoming place, but because I know our individual and organizational actions to that end ripple out to the rest of the world, and dare I say the universe. For me, it has never been merely about specific policies. For me, it is the deep feeling and principles that serve as the source of our actions. Our city, our country, our world, they're all in pain. And no degree of policy maneuvering will change that in the moment, because we humans have forgotten each other. Our humanity is tattered behind the facade of social media, press statements, corporate doublespeak, and politics, of course. Honesty is in short supply while glad-handing runs amok. What suffers from this is justice and love. In this spirit, I want to urge all of you here and the people who wish to be in your position soon to make an unequivocal statement against the genocide of Palestinians, whose access to free movement has been eradicated, a project that has been enforced for many decades, but seeing its completion at the hands of Zionists today. The ability to move freely and safely is at the core of social justice. I hope that we're all fighting for that. Yet this city that has for long buoyed itself on its so-called progressive image is failing at all levels. It is clear to me and others who have had enough of the system that we cannot continue to operate with the current framework and expect justice for all. It is abundantly clear to me that the yard signs, tokens, slogans, and the rest of it serve the very people who are already advantaged. I come to you with a voice from deep within my heart. I come to you with the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who clearly, if you don't mind, is that okay? I have a few sentences. I come to you with the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who clearly stated injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. I come to you with the spirit of Nina Simone, James Baldwin, and Malcolm X. I come to you because you and I are the privileged few who have a voice. With this voice, we must unite to end injustice in Portland, Palestine, and beyond. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
granting me extra 30
We
seconds.
appreciate your being here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next individual, please, Keelan, item 627.
Request of David Stein to address council regarding transportation safety.
Welcome. Thanks for being here.
And thank you to the clerk's office for rescheduling this. Appreciate the help. Okay, good morning, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is David Stein, and I'll ad-lib briefly and just say what's happened in the Middle East is terrible and complicated and also very far away, and some of the language around it endangers my family and my community. So a light touch would be appreciated. So today I come to speak with you yet again about transportation safety. However, this time I will talk about some of the second-order challenges posed by the role of land use policy and lack of investment in stormwater conveyance in Southwest Portland. Right now, there is a development proposal that will transform the 51 acres containing Alpenrose Dairy, softball field, and a velodrome into 269 houses, a 4-acre park, and an extension of the Red Electric Trail. In the midst of a climate emergency, critical housing shortage, and a desire to make Portland more attractive to residents and visitors alike, this is an abysmal failure. This site is worthy of zoning greater than R5, and with some commercial space mixed in, could also be a destination and attract real transit service from TriMet, more than 3 buses a day. The lack of density makes transit less economical to provide and is also a long-term liability to the city, as the cost of providing services will exceed the tax revenue generated by this new use of the property. Beyond the site containing no meaningful destinations and density worthy of a distant suburb, it will also become car-dependent due to sidewalks and bike facilities only being constructed along the property's frontage. This is because when a new development goes in, the only frontage that matters is that belonging to the property in question. Any links that would benefit the future residents of the property need not be considered. As a result, there will be a gap of about 1/3 of a mile where there are intermittent sidewalks, dirt paths, and one section where there isn't even a shoulder, preventing easy access to the nearest grocery store and a frequent service bus line connecting to downtown Portland and Beaverton Transit Center. The gap will be cost prohibitive to build out, in part because to add sidewalks or bike lanes, a green street, those stormwater management facilities next to the road, must be built. Because Southwest Portland's runoff goes into creeks and streams rather than a centralized facility like the Big Pipe, the only alternative for transportation is a diminished facility for walking and bicycling. If we want to provide actual alternatives to driving in Southwest Portland, we need a serious funded plan to build out Green Street's facilities to replace the current network of ditches and goat paths for people who want to walk and bike to school, their local park, and other destinations. This will make PBOT capital projects in Southwest Portland more competitive with the rest of the city and provide an actual network for people walking and biking. Stormwater facilities should be provided by BES and need to be budgeted as the essential resource that they represent. Having city-funded green streets will also make local improvement districts more palatable, as around half of properties in Southwest Portland have a waiver of remonstrance from developers who shifted their responsibility to future property owners for street frontage. If we're serious about addressing the rampant traffic violence and climate emergency throughout the city, then Southwest Portland needs the opportunity to leave the car at home, because right now, too many people view walking, biking, and by extension, using transit as too dangerous for too many people. Thank you.
Thank you. And David, if I could just chime in, this is a site I'm very, very familiar with, and I'm watching it closely too. And I agree with the overlays that you just identified. The main street there is not a safe street. It has been the site of many fatal car pedestrian interactions, and having far more density than currently exists in that location means there will have to be safety improvements. I also agree that they should not come at the expense of bike and pedestrian infrastructure. There has to be a way to make, we have to be able to coexist, particularly in a residential neighborhood. And then generally, I appreciate you highlighting something that doesn't get highlighted often enough. We hear a lot about transportation equity and equity with regard to pedestrian and biking infrastructure in particular, but it's usually in the context of East Portland. And God knows the people in East Portland have waited a long time for that infrastructure, but it's not as well known that Southwest Portland actually has overall abysmal pedestrian and biking infrastructure and a dearth of sidewalks and protections for people who choose not to drive. And so I appreciate that. I'm not as knowledgeable about the zoning issues in that particular area, so I'll educate and inform myself on that. But as people know, and some people don't like me for this reason, I believe within the urban core, there should be density. I think we should accept density in an urban core in exchange for protecting the wildlands and the natural beauty that brings a lot of people here in the first place. And so I will look into that just because I am curious and you've piqued my interest. And I appreciate you being here today. Thank you. Commissioner Maps, did you have a?
No, you did great.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you so much for
Thank
those
you.
words.
Next individual, please. Item number 628.
Request of Claire Coleman Evans to address council regarding Office of Neighborhood Involvement Standards, Neighborhood Associations, and District 4. Claire is joining us online.
Welcome, Claire.
Hi, thank you. As some of you know, I have been testifying before City Council since ever since Sweeney was defunded. And my biggest concern right now is I have been trying to work with the District 4, and I've been trying to work with the city offices to get things done. And unfortunately, I had requested documents and they didn't arrive until 8:09 last night for my testimony that I'm supposed to be doing today. I think the thing that I'm most concerned about also is in reading the ordinance on page 2, it says community impacts and community involvement, and it says not applicable. Yet this is about District 4 and what's going to be happening in all the districts. But I just would like to know how many of the commissioners have actually looked at the video for the February 20th District Coalition information session? Has anybody seen that? I think it's really important because what's happening right now is the services are not being given. They're talked about and they're saying that they're being given, but then when you actually need them or you try and get them, they're not there. So we're having to do the services that has to do with administration. And then also just civic life needs to be looked into again, because what happened with Chloe Daly and Joanne Hardesty, there is a repeat. I mean, I'm personally being bullied. I also am very concerned about, there are people that used to work for ONI that had a great knowledge, institutional knowledge, and they're actually helping today off the books. And the people that have been assigned are not helpful and they're not getting the information out in a timely manner so that we can do our jobs, which are basically doing the jobs now of what Sweeney used to do. And there's just not enough money. And I am not, a numbers person, but when you talk about 33 neighborhood associations versus 14, and you have insurance, district D&O insurance and administrative work, how does that work? I mean, I don't know how you get 33 neighborhoods to all get the insurance and 14. And when you look at the budget numbers, District 1 has 479, and then District 4 has 494. It just doesn't make sense to me. We have neighborhood associations, not individuals. And Mayor, I have talked to your staff and they've talked to me, but then there's no follow-up. I have talked to Marat and then there's no follow-up. So I bring all these things up, but it's just getting worse. It's getting so bad that people are just giving up. And I don't know if you guys know, but I work with the elderly, and you guys know Marianne Schwab. If I'm having problems getting through, the elderly clients that I have cannot get through. It is dangerous. Somebody in our board actually called because there was a downed tree on Shoals Ferry. She was put on hold for 20 minutes with 311. Then she was put on hold for 20 minutes with 911. We cannot reach the city to let them know about serious things that are happening. And I'm just saying the communication is.
Claire, you dropped out there, but let me respond just a little bit to what you said. First of all, I think all of us agree in this room, both elected officials, staffers, city administrators, our city administrator, interim city administrator, who's sitting here at the dais joining us today, would agree that the customer service component for the city of Portland is not adequate to the volume or the complexity of the input that the public would like to provide. And from my perspective, it's not just that people don't feel that they have a place where they can go that's clear and easily accessible in terms of communicating with the city. What I hear more frequently is what you just highlighted, which is I met with somebody, I expressed my opinion, or I got a call, or they said they received my email, but there's no follow through, there's no feedback. And that's very problematic. And so one of the things that Interim City Administrator Jordan and my team are working on is a complete redo of our customer service, if you will, the way we engage with, the way we interact with, and the way we follow through with you and all of our constituents. And it has to account for two things. Number one, the volume has increased substantially in terms of the amount of requests we get. And number two, the issues aren't just there's a barking dog next door, can somebody deal with it? They're really complex issues that often require a lot of iteration and coordination and communication amongst different bureaus. And we believe we now have a mechanism to begin to redevelop that process. So I want you to know I do hear the frustration you are expressing. I want you to know you are not alone. I want you to know that I agree with the needs that you expressed in terms of doing a better job with regard to interacting with and following through with the public, and that we are in the process of putting together what we believe will be an improved system, and that includes coordinating better with our 311 system. As for 911, that is a significant concern. It's something this council has prioritized to make sure that we have the proper personnel and the proper technologies in place to improve our call response time on 911. And I believe the last data showed that we have improved significantly. We're not where we want to be. We're not at the national standard, but we're moving in the right direction, and we will continue to invest as a council to improve that. So appreciate you being here today and highlighting some of the issues that this council takes seriously and that we're working on. And I thank you for that.
Thank you, and I appreciate all of you. I know this is a huge problem, but if we could just all work together, you have volunteers out here that are more than willing to help do anything that you need. We just need to be able to communicate and have access so that volunteers are actually doing the job of the city, because we don't have the finances. And so mobilize them.
We want to, and frankly, it's an important part of the social component of Portland. And as our first testifier said today, we need those opportunities to connect as a community, and we want to respect that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, 629, please. Next individual.
Request of James Lee to address council regarding sound in auditoriums.
Welcome. Thanks for being here, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, members of council, I am James Bernard Lee. I reside in Southeast Portland and speak only for myself. Thank you for hearing me today. Clerk of Council has copies of my remarks. On May 29th, council heard 3 half-hour presentations by real estate promoters alleging improvement to our Keller Auditorium. I request equal time to present alternatives. I graduated from Central Catholic High School, took a degree in physics from St. Mary's College, did rocket science for the Navy at China Lake for 6 years, studied architecture at the University of Oregon, took a master's degree in architectural science at the University of Sydney with a thesis on acoustics of concert halls. Since then, I have continued to study this intractable problem, eschewed by 2 Nobel laureates in physics, Lord Rayleigh and Richard Feynman. There has been progress, presentations to technical societies, publications in this country and in Europe, in this county too. 40 years ago, I bird-dogged the Performing Arts Project before council, annoying many with accurate prediction of ineluctable errors of concept, design, execution. Now, as then, I am the only person here with detailed knowledge of these vital and problematic buildings. I desire to place a half-century of diligent research and substantial achievement before council to accurately inform it prior to decision. My idea is to build a version of Boston Symphony Hall for concerts and a version of Teatro alla Scala di Milano for opera. These are by far the finest venues built over the past 250 years. We should be wise to emulate them. Last year, I was scheduled to appear at a special session of the Concert Hall Research Group and the Acoustical Society of America alongside Paul Scarborough, who have been charged with rebuilding New York Philharmonic Hall for the third time over 60 years. A sudden heart issue prevented my traveling to Chicago. I would like to present this knowledge to you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And you've provided the testimony to the clerk,
Yes,
is
and
that
I
correct?
also have some measured drawings of the buildings I spoke of.
Is that also included?
Yes, that's included in the testimony of
Excellent.
the council.
I appreciate it very much, and I'll probably have our DCA take a look at it as well.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir, for being here. Next individual, please, item 630.
Request of Christian Schiff to address council regarding impacts to neighborhood of ongoing drug dealing and violence. They canceled their request.
All right, good. Let's see, what time is it? It's 9:54. We can go to the first time certain item, please. Let's do the consent agenda first, just so we take care of that before I forget. I would like, well, let's see, item 635 has been pulled from the consent agenda. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Right, and I believe that is the only item
That is the
pulled
only
from the
item.
consent agenda. Please call the roll on the remainder.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Naps.
Aye.
Rubio.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye. The consent agenda is adopted. First time certain item, please, 631.
Amend the FY 2024-25 adopted budget to provide a temporary interfund loan not to exceed $45 million from Portland Parks and Recreation to Fire and Police Disability and Retirement to provide interim financing for cash flow deficit due to the timing of property tax collections.
City Administrator Jordan.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This piece of legislation, an ordinance on first reading, is for short-term funding for the Fire and Police Disability and Retirement Fund. You see this item every year about this time as bridge financing for the fund, but we are taking just a slightly different approach this year, and Deputy City Administrator Jonas Beery is here to, and CFO Jonas Beery is here to explain the item. So, Jonas?
Great. Thank you, City Administrator Jordan, Mayor and Council. Jonas Beery, DCA of Budget and Finance, and the city's Chief Financial Officer. As background, a short-term borrowing is required to fund FPDNR benefit payments early in the fiscal year, as the fund does not begin with a significant fund balance under provisions of the city charter. And also, current year property tax revenues are not received until November. Accordingly, each year, the FPDNR fund does not have financial resources to meet benefit payments during the August to November time period without an alternative funding source. It's for this reason that for decades, the city has issued short-term debt for the FPDNR fund early each fiscal year. Usually, the city issues short-term notes through the public bond market. However, the city's debt management division has identified a more efficient approach to reduce financing costs of the borrowing. Instead of using the public bond markets, the proposed ordinance will authorize an internal financing via an interfund loan between the Parks System Development Charge Fund and the FPDNR fund in the amount of $45 million. City interfund loans are allowed under the city's comprehensive financial management policies, specifically FIN 2.18, when the lending fund has sufficient resources. The Parks Bureau has agreed that the Parks SDC fund has sufficient resources to lend for the next few months. By using an interfund loan, it's estimated that the FPDNR fund will save roughly $200,000 in financing costs versus a publicly issued short-term note in the public bond market. Additionally, the interest costs that would typically be paid to investors outside the city will instead accrue to the benefit of the Parks SDC fund. Under the proposed terms of the loan, the borrowing would be repaid no later than June 30th, 2025. However, the loan is expected to be repaid this December after receipt of the FPDNR levy in November. The interfund loan interest rate will be the effective Treasury fund rate of the city plus an additional 0.1% that will be paid to the Parks SDC fund. The second part of this legislation is a technical adjustment to make the proper budget revisions to allow the interfund loan as a conventional short-term borrowing was what was anticipated during fiscal 24-25 budget adoption. We have city staff to answer questions, including Matt Gierach, the debt manager, Stacy Jones from FPD&R, and Bob Delghese from Parks Bureau.
Commissioner Mapps.
If I have my hand up, it's from the last item. No, I'm good.
Okay. And
Thank you for the presentation.
And this then is exactly the same as the anticipation notes that we've approved in previous years. The difference here is the source of the funding. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah. Internal funding versus external tax anticipation notes.
Great, thanks. Any further questions? Public testimony?
We have one person signed up,
All right, let's hear it.
Kevin Matches.
Hi, Kevin. It's good to see you. Thanks for being here again.
Thank you. I'm Kevin Matches. I have no objection to the amendment before you, and I'm not here to comment on your decision to grant a loan from your Parks Bureau to FPDR. Rather, I'm here to comment on the issue of oversight and the closely related issue of transparency. Specifically, I believe the city should fill vacant FPDR board seats with trustees who will support a culture of transparency. About 1 year ago, on August 2, 2023, I gave a similar public comment urging council to fill vacant FPDR board seats. Unfortunately, the city has left 1 of 5 board seats vacant for well over a year now. While the Board of Trustees is one of many volunteer advisory committees maintained by the city, it is by far the most powerful. More than simply giving advice to the city, the board has the ability to set FPDR Bureau's budgets, control the level of benefits to retirees, and remarkably, to increase property taxes. When the annual borrowing decision has come up in previous years, it has been remarked at council meetings that the decision was not fully understood before the vote to approve. I think this speaks to the need for oversight. Indeed, the city charter does not make filling vacancies on the FPDR board optional. The charter does not say that the mayor should do their best to fill board vacancies. Chapter 5, Article 2 is quite clear in using the word shall. Quote, appointments or elections for unexpired terms shall be made to fill vacancies within 30 days after they occur, end quote. The process is fairly straightforward. Trustees, quote, shall be nominated by the mayor and approved by city council, end quote. As the mayor is currently in violation of the city charter, it falls on city council to enforce. I urge the council to pass a resolution formally requesting that the mayor fulfill his duties under Chapter 5, Article 2 of the charter. Thank you.
Thank you. I did have a question for the city administrator. As was just mentioned, and you may not have the answer, but I would like it at some point. Sure. It was mentioned in testimony that we've had a vacant seat for over a year. Does anybody know why that seat has been vacant?
I don't, but I've just put a note on here to talk to Sam Hutchison
I'd
about
like some follow-up on that.
what's going on. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
We'll do that.
And I appreciate you being here today. It's good to see you again. All right, this is the first. Any further questions on this item? This is the first reading of a non-emergency ordinance. It moves to second reading. Next item, 632. We're right on time. This is a proclamation.
Proclaim July 10th, 2024 to be Portland Neighborhood Emergency Teams Day.
Well, as you heard, this is a proclamation recognizing today as Portland Neighborhood Emergency Teams Day. I think the mic. We have a number of people here today who participate. We thank you for your service. I'm going to turn this over to Commissioner Gonzalez.
Well, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to express my sincere gratitude for the opportunity to serve as Commissioner in charge of the Portland Bureau of Emergency Management over the last 18 months. During this tenure, I witnessed firsthand the unwavering dedication of its staff and volunteers, particularly during recent weather events like the one we just experienced this week. Their commitment extends far beyond emergency response, encompassing crucial community preparedness initiatives that build resiliency in our community. However, the neighborhood emergency team stand out as a truly singular program. Today is my immense privilege that I invite Jeremy Curen, Amanda Westervelt, Marisol Lozano Peralta, and Jeff, and I'm going to try and get this right, but Biuset, net, just
Bissonette.
Bissonette. God, the French gets me every time.
He might be running late. It doesn't appear he's here right yet.
All right, to share their insights and celebrate the program's remarkable 30th anniversary. Please make sure you introduce yourself and your title for the record. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Good morning. My name is Jeremy Van Kuren. I am the Community Resilience Manager for the Portland Bureau of Emergency Management. That's very nice. And joining me today,
Good morning. My name is Marisol Lozano Peralta, and I work for the Portland Bureau of Emergency Management, and I work with the community as a community engagement specialist.
And my name is Amanda Westervelt. I've been a NET since 2019. I work for the Portland Bureau of Emergency Management as well.
all right, and to get the presentation started, Portland Emergency Management is preparing for what will probably be one of the worst days of our collective lives, a Cascadia subduction zone megathrust earthquake. The Neighborhood Emergency Team program, called NET for short, is one of the ways that we are preparing. Okay, a little background. According to a 2018 analysis by Oregon's Department of Geology and Mineral Industries, that quake will cause between 12 and 18% building loss, thousands of casualties, and tens of thousands of displaced persons. And just like that, now you know why us emergency managers are never invited to parties. I want to point out a statistic from Craig Fugate, who ran FEMA from 2009 to 2017. In the immediate aftermath of a catastrophic disaster, 90 to 95% of all the people who are rescued will be rescued by a neighbor, not a professional first responder. That tracks with an important analog to what we found, for example, in the 1985 Mexico City quake. Data is spotty, but we do know this. In the aftermath of the quake, hundreds of everyday people took spontaneous action and saved the lives of many thousands of their neighbors. We also know that many of those spontaneous volunteers were injured or even lost their lives in those rescue attempts. The Los Angeles City Fire Department took note of what happened in Mexico City and the need to train civilians in basic disaster response skills. They created the Community Emergency Response Team curriculum in 1985, which is called CERT for short. FEMA adopted CERT programming in 1993 and promoted it nationwide. FEMA estimates that there are now 2,700 CERT programs in the country, and NET is one of those programs. In fact, Portland NET is one of the most venerable CERT programs. NET got its start when a Portland Fire and Rescue Community Services coordinator named Rachel Jackie, who may be in the audience with us today, launched the first Portland the first Portland NET class in 1994, and over 100 Portlanders signed up for Rachel's first class. The purpose of basic CERT training curriculum, which is what NET uses, is to prepare everyday people to both safely and effectively render aid in the aftermath of a catastrophic disaster. Trainees learn skills such as search and rescue, basic medical response, utility shutoff, small fire suppression, and more to be ready to help their families and neighborhoods. A basic NET class runs for a total of about 28 training hours. I titled this presentation, Building a Community Resilience Ecosystem, because I want to illustrate that NET has become a large, multifaceted, and interconnected community gathered around resilience. But to develop an ecosystem, you have to cultivate it somewhere. The graph that you're seeing now illustrates the number of NET volunteers we've graduated over our first 30 years since Rachel's class. When I joined PBEM in 2012, I put together a team to focus on graduating more volunteers. I want to acknowledge the work of my colleague Glenn Devitt with PBEM, who couldn't be with us today. The spike in graduates on the right side of the graph has a lot to do with his work until COVID effectively shut our basic classes down for a while. But we've trained 3,889 volunteers in 93 basic classes since 1994. Folks who graduate from basic NET join their local team. As the animation demonstrates, we've grown to reach NET teams over Portland, and 85% of Portlanders have a nearby NET ready to help after a disaster. The gray areas on the map are the only neighborhoods without an active NET presence yet. Right now, we have a total of over 1,200 active NET volunteers, and these volunteers are your neighbors. And Portland began with the prospect of a Cascadia subduction zone or earthquake. I suggested Portland Net began with the prospect of an earthquake. But Net has always taken an all hazards approach to resilience. Net's responded to one of the most significant disasters in our history, which is the 1996 Willamette Valley flood. The newspaper clipping is an Oregonian story about how Nets were helping with Mayor Vera Katz's sandbag wall and then going door to door in downtown businesses, assisting them. As climate change has transformed Portland's disaster risk profile, our resilience ecosystem has also changed so that Nets are deploying to help their communities during extreme weather events, including the one that we just had. Nets deployed during that as well. Nets maintain perimeters around down power lines. When storms knock them down, that frees up firefighters to take higher priority calls. They volunteer at emergency cooling and warming shelters for homeless persons, and they also assist Multnomah County with standing up those shelters. Before and during the rainy season, they start neighborhood campaigns to clear storm drains and prevent urban pooling. And those are just a few examples. Even though we haven't seen an earthquake yet, Nets have been very busy the past 5 years supporting PBEM and Portland Fire and Rescue. We average about 30 deployments every year, putting in about 1,600 response hours annually. Looking at the graph, those averages factor out the great outlier that was COVID-19, which is probably the most impactful disaster in Portland's history. From March 2020 until the end of 2021, Nets logged over 20,000 volunteer hours supporting their communities. To name just a few of the ways that Nets serve, they took administrative roles in emergency operations, in the Emergency Operations Center, and even cooked for response staff, handed out COVID information posters along routes, prepared shipments of sanitizer and other critical supplies for distributing in the community, volunteered at vaccine clinics, and helped arrange the vaccination appointments of older adults and persons with disabilities. One of the most significant efforts the COVID response was coordinating with the Portland Mass Project, and I'm going to turn it over to Amanda to talk about that.
So as Jeremy mentioned, Nets have responded to a variety of deployment requests, including ones we could not have imagined. And during COVID, one of the ways that Net supported the city was to deploy to a small local organization called the Portland Mass Project. The Portland Mass Project's mission was to sew fabric masks and to provide any person a free mask upon request. This deployment lasted 18 months and was the longest deployment in Net history. Net volunteers researched and designed these masks for effectiveness, ease of production, and easy care and use. They made masks in both adult and kid sizes, and it was a huge endeavor. Overall, 68 volunteers worked on this project. Through this complex process, one set of volunteers cut fabric and built sewing kits, and those kits were gathered and then redistributed to sewing volunteers who used the kits to make masks. Then the masks were gathered, quality checked, and packaged and donated to the community for distribution. The amazing Portland Mask Project team ultimately donated over 20,000 masks to our communities to protect them from COVID-19. Jeremy?
Thank you, Amanda. And I hope Amanda won't mind me mentioning that for her work with the Portland Mask Project and several other accomplishments, she was awarded the 2021 National CERT Volunteer of the Year Award. That's a big deal because FEMA estimates there are approximately 600,000 CERT volunteers in the country, and her peers recognized her as number one. And then we at PBEM poached her and made her an employee. Part of why Nets were effective during the COVID response is because PBEM worked to increase the number of active volunteers, as you saw earlier. But to be ready and effective responders in disasters, PBEM also invests a lot of time in advanced training that builds off of the basic curriculum skill sets that they learn. So advanced training topics have led us to developing special volunteer units with advanced skill sets. For example, we have hundreds of amateur radio operators. We also have a growing group of disaster medics. And a group of volunteers who specialize in mental health response. Collectively, Net volunteers put in about 8,000 hours a year in advanced training. This growing and diversifying ecosystem creates not only a community of disaster responders, we're cultivating community leaders and ownership of community resilience. Net volunteers have taken charge of promoting preparedness from PBEM, essentially. They serve as PBEM's ambassadors, promoting disaster preparedness and resilience in their communities and getting their neighbors involved. For example, in 2023, Net volunteers logged a little over 6,500 hours participating in community outreach. That's the equivalent to adding 3 full-time outreach and engagement staff to our bureau. I would also like to talk up the initiative and the ingenuity Net volunteers have taken to community resilience. The Shaky Grounds Cafe is a really cool example of that. Tyler Robinson is both a Net volunteer and a professional game designer, and he parlayed his experience as a Net volunteer into creating an award-winning escape room, and he uses it to teach Portlanders about disaster preparedness. In fact, he has it parked just a block north of us, and you can check it out until about 1 o'clock this afternoon if you like. The citywide deployment exercise is another great example. Kathy Reese is a Net leader in East Portland who leads a committee to run these exercises twice a year. Hundreds of Net volunteers participate all over Portland, and the exercise has gone statewide. This is a picture of West Salem CERT volunteers participating with us. And I also asked Amanda here today to talk about another training event that she developed when she was still a Net volunteer, which is a Net summer camp.
So Net Camp is an annual weekend of advanced Net training. It's planned and conducted by Nets for Nets. Net Camp offers a variety of classes. Some are taught by Nets with subject matter expertise, and some are taught by regional professional responders and emergency managers. Most classes are designed to advance skills taught in the Net basic curriculum, but the planning committee also tries to bring novel topics to camp every year to help Nets prepare for whatever emergency may come next. Net Camp also includes a deployment exercise for skills practice, as well as time for Nets to share meals and get to know other Nets from around the city, and to share experience and knowledge. It's also critically important that Net Camp be for and by all Nets. So translators and interpreters have been employed for Net Camp since 2022 to help work toward meaningful and complete inclusion of our Spanish-speaking volunteers. The first Net Camp was held in 2019, and the next Net Camp will be held in September. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Marisol.
Thank you, Amanda. Good morning, everyone. I am here to tell you why it is important that we fund and continue to maintain the Net Spanish program available and accessible in our community. Our community members must learn about emergency management and the proper skills to assist during a catastrophic event or during an emergency. As it was stated earlier, it is proven that 90 to 95% of emergency situations, people are rescued by a neighbor. We already have a program that is serving and preparing the community to become active volunteers. But however, we are also aware that all of the community members have different needs and we must make accommodations. I currently support and coordinate the Net Spanish-speaking community by being the bridge that can connect them and help them engage with the information, trainings, and resources to learn the skills in their own language. On March 12 of 2018, there was a strong fire in the Cooley neighborhood, and there were approximately 55 people evacuated. About 35 of them were children and 5 elders, and most of them were native Spanish speakers. Aside from the fire, the secondary threat was also exposure from the chemicals in the air. The 5-alarm blaze sent toxic oily smoke blowing west across Cooley, and it took 30 fire engines and 170 firefighters, which is a quarter of the city's force, to put the fire out. It was a serious health and safety hazard, and according to the news report, some parents stated that their children were coming home from school with red faces and were also vomiting. Most residents were not able to get their belongings and they had to be evacuated, and they also had no access to their medications, and also there was a need of a leader to pass the information off to the community and bring the support in their own language. It was also said that this could have been prevented. There had already been reports from the community members about the junkyard that was set on fire, which is why I firmly believe that my program helps identify these situations and not only prepares the community for disasters, but it also helps them raise their voice and advocate for their neighborhoods about any hazardous threats. We are aware that our community does not always feel that they can trust our emergency responders. This program is an access to help them get the trust needed and to let them know that we can actually act culturally appropriate and give them the guidance to ask for help and save lives. My program helps create these partnerships and helps them take the burden of the first responders because I am there to help them and plan for these events. And with all the free trainings that are provided, we also help them empower our community and allow them to become leaders during a type of an emergency. Thank you.
Thank you, Marisol. As Portland Net has grown in size and shape over 30 years, the Net community has needed more capacity to build collaborations, access grant funding, fill service gaps, and help promote community resilience. Leaders in the Net community collaborated to form a nonprofit organization called Friends of Portland Net. Board President Jeff Bissonette is here to talk about that. Jeff?
Thank you, Jeremy. Good morning, Mayor Wheeler, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Jeff Bissonette, and I'm a member of the St. John's Cathedral Park Neighborhood Emergency Team, which I have been since about 2015. And I also currently serve as the Board President for Friends of Portland Net, or FPN. Through the course of this presentation, we've been celebrating the last 30 years of Net, and there's a lot to celebrate. But FPN is looking at the next 30 years. Before I get to FPN's role in that, let me say a few words about the organization. We're still a relatively new group, having only incorporated and received our 501c3 status in the spring of 2022. The primary purpose of FPN is to administer donations that individual teams receive. None of those teams are separately incorporated, so having a fiscal sponsor that can offer a path to tax-deductible donations and to receive grants and maintain the financial records is critical for those teams. While that role is important, it's really only a small part of what we hope for FPN. As you look over our mission and key priorities on the screen, you'll notice a couple of key themes emerge that have also been discussed by previous speakers. FPN wants to be part of making those themes a reality for the NET program and its volunteers. First, capacity, both of teams and volunteers, shows up quite a bit. 30 years ago, getting ready for the earthquake was the primary training and preparedness driver. While that's still central to the mission of NETs, as we've heard, NETs are capable of responding effectively to a wide range of incidents and disasters. In fact, advocating for capacity building and the advanced training that requires, and then finding ways to use that expanded capacity to meet immediate needs will all provide the needed skill level after a major disaster that the major earthquake will require. Second, equity appears several times in our founding documents. Most modern scholarship on emergency preparedness and management acknowledges, and as you heard from Marisol, those communities that are historically underserved are in real danger of also being unprepared for a major disaster. FPN has a deep interest in strengthening teams and volunteers in areas that have been underserved and ensure that these communities have the skills and resources to be as resilient as any other community. As Jeremy noted at the start of this presentation, it's clear that after a Cascadia subduction zone earthquake, that professional first responders are going to be overwhelmed with the vast range of needs that such an event will bring. Neighbors will truly have to depend on neighbors to be their first responders in the initial hours or days after an event, and possibly even weeks. Just as the Portland Bureau of Emergency Management trains NET volunteers to be force multipliers in disaster response strategies, FPN is seeking to be a force multiplier, working closely with PBEM in building the capacity of NET teams and volunteers and ensuring the program becomes more and more equitable. These two concepts will be central to community resilience efforts in the coming years, and so will be central to FPN as well. Thank you very much for that, for your time, and I'll turn it back to Jeremy.
Thanks very much, Jeff. Before we finish, I would like to illustrate the time NET volunteers have put into the program. All told, adding up training hours, deployment hours, and outreach hours, NETs log an average of 31,000 volunteer hours with the city of Portland every year since 2018. Now, I think it's true that volunteers and the work they do are absolutely priceless, but there is a lot of research out there that has determined that the average volunteer hour in Oregon is worth $32.37. So If we were to use that figure to demonstrate the return on investment Portland is receiving from net volunteers, it would look something like this. Starting from 2018, an average ROI of a little bit more than $1 million each year. To wrap up, I'm going to revisit this image from the 1985 Mexico City quake. It's where many of us learned that neighbors and spontaneous volunteers are the ones who will help us after a catastrophic disaster. This picture is also from Mexico City, but taken in the aftermath of their 2017 earthquake. In this picture, there are 12 rescuers. The one in blue is a professional rescuer. The other 11 are all volunteers. And with that, I'll end the presentation, and we appreciate you taking time with us today. Thank you very much, and if you have any questions, we are happy to answer them. Thanks.
Very good. Colleagues, before I read the proclamation, I'll be turning it over to my colleagues for any comments they have, but before we do that, are there any questions that anybody would like to ask? Very good. Commissioner Ryan? Sure.
Just curious. I know you'll have an answer. We all are going to tell you that was a superb presentation.
Thank you.
But my question is, when you showed the map and there were a couple gray neighborhoods, meaning that you're trying to build the system there, what are some of your strategies to turn them to a different color?
So I think it's important that that what we offer in NET is flexible to what is going on in those neighborhoods. And what I mean by that is one of the gray areas that you saw, for example, was probably Forest Park neighborhood. And we want to partner with Portland Fire and Rescue more for Firewise programming to get the community more involved in general with some of our work. And then in East Portland, there's definitely gaps there. And I think one of the issues that we have with the CERT curriculum generally is that it's not, I wouldn't describe it as culturally competent. And that's something that we're working on correcting to make it more and more culturally competent.
Very good, thanks. With that, we'll go to commissioner comments, starting in order. Commissioner Mapps.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Let me start out by thanking the mayor and Commissioner Gonzalez for bringing this item forward. I also want to thank the panel for today's presentation. As I think Commissioner Ryan mentioned, truly a knockout presentation. Also, I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge all of the orange and yellow vests that we see in the audience today. It is truly great to see so many NET volunteers out there. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day for joining us. And colleagues, I also want to say this. I am delighted to join you in proclaiming July 10th, 2024 to be Neighborhood Emergency Teams Day. I want to start out by thanking all of the Portlanders who volunteer their time and energy to serving on our neighborhood emergency teams. As we learned today, the NET program has been established, was established way back in 1994. And since then has emerged into one of the most robust emergency response programs in the nation. I think if I remember correctly, we have something like 1,200 volunteers currently participating in the NET program. That's amazing if you've ever tried to organize volunteers for any sort of event, and I know that everyone on this council has done a fair bit of that. We are truly awed and inspired by the example that you've shown all of us. And I'll tell you, when I think back on your presentations, here are a couple of things that really resonated with me. I think if I remember it correctly, you folks have been deployed 244 times in the past 5 years. That's amazing. We took a look at the number of hours that you've been out there. That's truly amazing. The kinds of ways in which you go about supporting folks during emergencies, which include everything from helping our emergency response professionals in a crisis to frankly engaging with communities on a day-to-day basis, incredibly important. That's why I want to encourage all Portlanders to consider volunteering for their local NET team. I think in today's presentations, we saw some of the places where we currently have gaps. I think there were some both on the west side and on, especially in the periphery of the city, if I'm recalling that map correctly. And even if you find yourself in a situation where you can't find the time to volunteer on your local net team, I do urge all Portlanders to recognize Neighborhood Emergency Teams Day by thanking your neighbors who serve on this important project. So with that, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your service to our community. And Mr. Mayor, I'll hand the floor back to you.
Thank you, Commissioner Mapps. Commissioner Rubio.
Thank you, Mayor. And I also will join my colleague in appreciating the mayor and Commissioner Gonzalez for bringing this forward. And I also want to thank our presenters today. Thank you, Jeremy and Amanda and Marisol and Jeff. I also want to lift up the excellent work that you do, and you've been doing this for a long time. You set a very, very strong foundation for the city. And of course, I also want to appreciate everyone that showed up today to uplift this important work, and all the members of the 1,200 plus volunteers that couldn't be here today, that volunteer all the time for the neighborhoods as well. Working together, especially in the most difficult of times, is exactly what NET is about, and what you do best. And I know your work pretty well. I've been watching it for a long time, and I especially appreciate the solid work that you've done with diverse language communities. It's something that, as in my prior lifetime at a nonprofit, we were partners together in developing some of that work, and it was new and no one had done it before, and you all were very proactive about that, and you saw that it was critically important, and that's exactly what makes me feel comfortable in knowing that our city will step up and be responsive, and that our neighbors will as well. So I continue to be super impressed with NET and your strong network that continues to grow, and your commitment to keeping our city safe. And you're there in our worst and most stressful moments. And I also want to say you're the quiet superheroes that we might not see all the time, but you're the first leaders that step up when neighbors or neighborhoods are in their moment of need or in a moment of crisis. And you remind us that we're a better city when we're prepared. So I just want to encourage all Portlanders to please learn about your neighborhood net, or consider starting one. And even if you feel like your network isn't big, this is exactly the skill that this excellent team at the city does. It'll help you find your network and grow your network. So want to make sure that we get the word out there. So just thank you again for everything you're doing, to the excellent team, Jeremy, your team, also all the volunteers. Thank you for caring about our city and for caring about your neighbors.
Thank you, Commissioner Rubio. Commissioner Gonzalez.
Just a special thank you to all the NET volunteers in the audience. Can we get a big round of applause for you guys? Your efforts equip us not only to weather a catastrophic earthquake event, but also extreme weather events of all sorts. I would also like to thank NET volunteers for assisting with Portland's homelessness crisis and providing them with support during extreme weather events to help keep them safe. The Spanish language NET program is particularly important to ensure all members of our community have access to life-saving information and training. This initiative not only enhances preparedness, but also builds trust and bridges gaps and makes our city more inclusive and resilient. Did hear the call out for cultural appropriate training, and I look forward to seeing how that evolves going forward. Okay, congratulations to all NET volunteers for your dedicated service, and a special acknowledgement to the PBEM staff who tirelessly provide the program with necessary resources. Your combined efforts ensure the program's continued success. I also want to make a special call out. Thank you for highlighting the importance of volunteers during a true emergency. The most likely scenario for most Portlanders, if we face a Cascadia event, we face a major catastrophe, is that it's going to be your neighbor or a volunteer that's going to be the first one on site. And we have a robust first responder system in the community, but that is just reality. And to double that home, if we have a Cascadia event, the first couple of weeks, it's going to be largely local support. National Guard's not going to be there tomorrow, and nor is FEMA, unfortunately. So I think when we think about how the city of Portland's going to be safe for the next 50 years, it is essential that we connect with our neighbors. It is essential that we empower volunteers to help support. With that, thank you once again for a great presentation.
Thank you, Commissioner Gonzalez. Commissioner Ryan.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Commissioner Gonzalez, for bringing this forward. That was fun. You're a great presenter, Jeremy. I've had the pleasure of being out in the community with you, and you have fans, like it's obvious. I think Amanda, Marisol, all of you, it was so tight and clear and crisp. And then to see the Friends Network growing and becoming a really legitimate part of this system. So thank you for your service, Jeff, as the president of that organization. I just want to say that this is timely. I don't know when it wouldn't be timely, but it's definitely timely after a heat wave, because I don't think there's anyone in this room that hasn't thought about their neighbors deeply, especially as we've learned more and more and more that it's about people inside their home that don't have proper cool air that are the ones that suffer during heat waves. So I think all of us are learning that's what we do during heat waves. And just knowing that you're the system out there that will keep improving and responding, it makes me so happy. So neighbors do depend on neighbors. It's just so organic and clear. We definitely saw it during COVID as well. And really smart that you did the ROI calculation. That was pretty crisp and clear. You will always do well in budget hearings with such data. And I just want to say that I hope that next year we can hear about how we're moving those from gray to a better shade. And that lipstick video at the beginning, that's really good. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah.
I thought it was a little risky for city council, but thank you.
What's that?
I thought it was a little risky for city council.
Oh, bring it on, Jeremy.
Okay.
You don't know us. So boring.
You don't
More
know
lipstick
us very
videos.
well.
Yes. Thank you.
If I could take just another risk too, I just noticed in the audience is Ernie Jones. Do you mind standing up, Ernie? Ernie's not just a net volunteer. Until recently, he was he was on our team, and he's also done a lot to make this program spectacular. So I'm glad that he was able to join us.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, today, obviously, we're celebrating this incredible milestone of 30 years of dedicated service by the Portland Neighborhood Emergency Response Team program. And I want to share my colleagues' enthusiasm and gratitude for our net volunteers. Thank you, thank you, thank you for everything that you're doing. That thank you 3 times in a row is in lieu of the $1.1 million that we would be paying you ordinarily. So I hope you enjoy that. Look, the net team exemplifies a lot of things that I love about this community. It embodies the community spirit that exists here in this community. And community mindedness, and it also exemplifies the innovation and the creativity that we bring to solving problems. For now 3 decades, the Portland Bureau of Emergency Management has shepherded this vital initiative on behalf of the city, growing from its first class in the spring of 1994, and I was glad that we had that opportunity to reflect on the history of the NET program to an impressive network of over, as we learned today, 1,200 volunteers. I had the privilege early in my administration, I think it was 2017, to attend an all-day training with NET volunteers and prospective NET volunteers. And it was something that impressed me markedly. I've never been a NET volunteer, but I was a volunteer mountain rescuer for 8 years. And I felt a lot of pride for that work. And maybe more importantly, I felt a lot of camaraderie. I felt like I was part of a community. I was part of like-minded individuals who cared about what was happening to other people during difficult times. And I saw that in the NET program, and I still see it today. And it's just great to see such an active and innovative program, not only that's successful here, but as we learned during this presentation, is a leading example nationally of what can be done to engage community to help community. The NET commitment, of course, expands well beyond emergencies, and sometimes into the bizarre. I think one of the most impressive NET responses I've seen during my tenure as mayor was something nobody saw coming, which was a burst water main. Was anybody here part of the burst water main scenario in North Portland? It turned the neighborhood into a lake. And it was clear that our utility workers, our fire bureau and first responders, they were overextended. And so they were doing everything they needed to do to address the problem. But NET folks were Johnny on the spot. They were everywhere throughout that neighborhood, helping people whose homes were at risk of being flooded, helping people egress into safer places, helping some of the small businesses that were impacted in the neighborhood, even moving furniture and doing things like that. And for me, that was an impressive day. It is one I will look back on as one that truly typified what is the best about community, and NET represents that. And I want to thank you for the 6,500 hours that you volunteer each and every year, preparing neighborhoods for potentially catastrophic events, but also doing training and community outreach. And again, just the vital importance of us being together in person as a community and working on common goals. The value of that cannot be overstated in today's environment. I will just simply saying that we're prepared for the challenges of today and tomorrow. I thank every volunteer, past, present, and those of you who will be here in the future. The city is going to do our part. You are doing your part as representatives of our community, but it's also incumbent upon those of us who are up here, both elected as well as our city administrators and the executive team, to work well with you. Commissioner Gonzalez and I held a tabletop exercise just 2 days ago. And the goal of that tabletop exercise was to make sure that we, under our new executive team formation, understand what our responsibility is to coordinate our bureaus through the Portland Bureau of Emergency Management during an incident, and then work with you as our community frontline helpers, if you will. And we will continue to do those exercises. I will continue to encourage these DCAs, Deputy City Administrators who are up here today, to make sure that our bureaus and our service areas are well coordinated through the Portland Bureau of Emergency Management so that we can best support you in your important community mission. That's my commitment to you. That is this council's commitment to you going forward. So with that long-winded introduction, I will now read the proclamation on behalf of the Portland City Council. Whereas the vitality of Portland is a deep spirit of civic-mindedness and shared commitment to all residents' well-being, and whereas the City of Portland launched the Neighborhood Emergency Team Program in 1994 and has developed it to become among the largest and most esteemed volunteer emergency preparedness and response programs in the United States of America today. And whereas Neighborhood Emergency Team volunteers have worked tirelessly for 30 years to prepare Portland communities for natural hazards, ranging from severe heat and cold to a Cascadia subduction zone earthquake. And whereas NET volunteers are committed to serve as immediate neighborhood responders to save lives in the first hours following a catastrophic citywide disaster, and are an integral part of the City of Portland's emergency planning, having deployed 244 times in just the past 5 years to support emergency response professionals in Portland. And whereas NET volunteers contribute approximately 30,000 volunteer hours, $1.1 million value, each and every year, assisting professional first responders, engaging with communities, and training to respond to emergencies and catastrophic disasters. And whereas NET volunteers have spearheaded local efforts to serve disaster-vulnerable communities before, during, and after emergencies, including persons with access and functional needs and socioeconomically disadvantaged neighbors. And whereas Portland benefited tremendously from the unwavering support of NET volunteers during the COVID-19 pandemic, when they supported dozens of vaccine clinics, filled critical roles in Portland's Emergency Operations Center, embedded with the Portland Mask Project to sew over 20,000 masks, primarily to protect lives of underserved communities and children, and provided safety education to Portland businesses. And whereas volunteers in the NET program have supported houseless persons by becoming qualified to serve in critical roles at emergency shelters and transporting guests to life-saving shelters during severe weather conditions. And whereas net volunteers have contributed their time alongside professionals of Portland Fire and Rescue, the Portland Police Bureau, and other agencies to help keep important Portland events safe, such as the Rose Festival, the Portland Marathon, the Out of Darkness Walk, the Pride Parade, and many others. Now, therefore, I, Ted Wheeler, Mayor of the City of Portland, Oregon, the City of Roses, do hereby proclaim July 10th, 2024 to be Portland Neighborhood Emergency Team Days in recognition of their 30 years of service and encourage all Portlanders to observe this day. Thank you. So for all of you here who are net volunteers or want to be net volunteers, we've had a request for a photo right in front here with all of you. If we could, we'll take a 3-minute recess. All right, we are back in session. Item 633, a report.
Accept the Portland Children's Levy 2024 Annual Community Report.
Before I turn this over to the city administrator, I'd like to recognize Commissioner Ryan, who for several years has been administering and leading this program. I wanted to offer him an opportunity for any opening remarks. Commissioner Ryan.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. It's been an honor since I've been elected in September 2020 to have this assignment. It's been great to oversee work by Director Pellegrino. She's been at this work for some time, and yet it keeps saying, you're so fresh, like you're constantly making it better. When I came in, there was some feedback from an evaluation, an audit, if you will, that brought in outside voices. From that, they built a community advisory board. We successfully went to the ballot last year. Was it a year and a half ago? It all blends in. And it was very successful. That 70% of Portlanders wanted to stick with investing in our most important asset, our children and our youth. And now we're going through some more evolutions as we look to having more investments for those who are over 14 up to age 24. The goal is always for all of our youth to be socially and economically mobile by the time their age is 24. That's our job as society, is to set that up. And so it's just such an honor to be a part of the allocation committee. And we have a great group of volunteers that show up for that as well. And so it's just a really good system. So thank you for your stewardship of this program, Lisa, and for your amazing team. It's been quite an honor to provide oversight and strategic thinking with all of you. I turn it over, I think, to you, Sonia, correct?
First to City Administrator Jordan, unless you have nothing to say.
I'm happy to take it.
I think we can just let Sonia take it from here. Thank you,
Got it.
Commissioner.
You're welcome. Thank you, Commissioner Ryan.
Okay, good morning. I'm
Morning.
Sonia Szymanski. I'm your Deputy City Administrator for the Vibrant Communities Service Area. Very happy to be here and very happy to follow the NET celebration with a slightly different flavor of a city-community partnership program. Thank you to all of you for making time for this, and especially to you, Commissioner Ryan, for your service on the Allocation Committee and your leadership there. The Vibrant Communities Service Area unites the city's recreation, arts, parks, and youth programming in one home. Across our service area, we offer or facilitate programming that reaches tens of thousands of children, teenagers, and young adults each year. Swim lessons, after-school programs, nature and art camps, arts education, free lunch during the summer break, and new programs like expanded youth employment in the Parks Bureau and the Arts in Action initiative from the new Office of Arts and Culture. In the web of Portland's social and cultural fabric, each of these is a connection point where kids and families learn, give and receive support, and deepen their investment in Portland and each other. And these programs contribute both indirectly and directly to our priorities of safety, livability, and economic recovery. Today, we're zooming in and highlighting the Portland Children's Levy, which Portland voters have approved 5 times since 2002, most recently in 2023 with funds that run through June 2029. Under the very steady and very long-standing leadership of Director Lisa Pellegrino, the team works within its 5% admin cap to deliver accountable, effective, responsive services to youth and their families. And Commissioner, I appreciated you calling the feeling fresh in the organization. There is a deep continuous improvement ethic and orientation among this team, and it shows. Through more than 80 programs, the levy supports children aged birth through 24 by funding community partners to offer services like high-quality childcare, parent-child activities, enriching after-school programs, caring adult mentors, therapeutic supports in times of trauma and crisis, and daily access to healthy food. And with that teaser, I'm very happy to introduce Director Lisa Pellegrino.
Is this, okay, I'll make sure it was on before I hit it. Good morning, everybody. Nice to see you all, Mayor and council members. I'm here, as Sony just introduced, to deliver the annual community report highlights to you all. And it highlights the impact of the Portland Children's Levy on the ground. So it's a way to hear from the people that are most impacted by these voter investments, including the children, the families, and the staff at the agencies. So as Sonia just noted, this levy was first approved in 2002, and the grants went out the following year. In this community report, we're celebrating more than 20 years of being there for Portland's children and families. If you want to start the presentation, that would be great. Thanks. So in this year's, pictured here on this slide, our current and former foster youth and the new Avenues for Youth program that is called Access to College on a rafting trip in Central Oregon. We're going to hear a little bit more about this program a little further into the presentation. If you want to go to the next slide. Thanks. This slide illustrates that Portland Children's Levy provided 91 program grants totaling more than $26 million to support grantee partners working in early childhood, after school, child abuse prevention and intervention, foster care, hunger relief, mentoring, community child care, and all of the smaller organizations working in those substantive areas. In the pie chart there on the slide, you can see the breakdown of investments in dollar amounts and in percentages by program area. I know it's kind of small, but you can see that early childhood is one of the largest areas and focuses of investment over time. Next slide, please. So the levy served just over 9,600 participants in the 5 program areas that offer primarily relationship-based programming over time. And those are early childhood, after school, mentoring, child abuse prevention and intervention, and foster care. So that includes all of the 6 of the 7 small grants as well. In hunger relief, levy programs serve more than 15,000 children and distributed 3.5 million pounds of food at more than 60 locations across the city. So compared to FY22, so we're looking at progress over time, most programs met their pre-pandemic goals for the number of children and parents or caregivers to serve in their programs last year. So we're seeing really good pandemic recovery in programming for children and families last year. Next slide, please. So this will just give you a little bit of a picture of who we're reaching with the Children's Levy program. So who are all these 91 programs serving? At the top level, you'll see we're reaching the levy's priority populations, which includes those most disproportionately affected by racial inequities. So you can see that 92% of the children and families served had incomes at 185% of the federal poverty level or less. And just to give you some scaling, 185% of the federal poverty level for that year was $55,000 for a family of 4, whereas the median income in Portland is twice that at $106,000 for a family of 4. 77% of the children served identified as Black, Indigenous, or a child of color. 44% lived or attended school in East Portland. 33% speak a primary language in their home other than English. We just heard how important it is to reach people in their home language in the last presentation. And 7% had a disability according to the data that is reported directly from grantees. And then we also work with the Multnomah Education Service District for reporting on who in the after-school and mentoring programs is receiving special education services or a 504 plan accommodation, and that's at 20%. So that gives you a sense for all the communities that we are reaching deeply into with the programming at the levy. Next slide, please. So the first levy in 2002 featured 4 program areas. We are up to 6 now. And those were after school, child abuse prevention, early childhood, and mentoring. The goal then was to support children starting at the crucial early years by creating safe environments where they could be surrounded by nurturing adults. Having a caring and professional mentor can significantly improve a child's life. At the Pathfinder Network, which became a grantee partner in 2020, the Mentoring Inside Out program supports youth ages 7 to 18 who are impacted by a parent or caregiver's incarceration. So Jimmy is a program participant you see pictured on the left with his mentor, Vic, on the right. Jimmy said, "Back when I first started working with Vic, I couldn't see a future. I just felt like it was always going to be like this, and I just had to deal. Whenever I called him, he picked up, and he would ask me things like, if everything were perfect right now, what would it look like? There are so many little moments like that with the Pathfinder Network, where I changed over the littlest things. I'm glad I am who I am right now. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else." So it's always really impactful for me to hear right from people's hearts where the programming takes them. Next slide, please. Supporting children who also requires supporting parents and caregivers so they can provide safer, more stable home environments. The Family and Community Alliance from LifeWorks Northwest has received funding since the start of the levy, which was 20 years ago. This program enhances parenting skills, connects families to resources by providing home visits, case management, and parenting classes. In this slide, you see Elena Brown as a program participant, and she said about this program, "It wasn't until my third meeting with Jessie, who is her LifeWorks advocate, that I started to open up about life, my children, and the help I really did need, even if I was stubborn about it. I literally looked forward in my meetings to vent, to be helped, and to be okay with being helped." Next slide. For school-age children, fun and educational activities after school and in the summer can supplement classroom learning while providing safe places for children to further develop social emotional skills. Many programs feature hands-on, immersive learning opportunities that can expose children to potential career pathways. The AKA Science program, which is a program from Impact Northwest, provides science enrichment classes after school and in the summer on topics like chemistry, biology, physics, engineering, environmental science, and more, along with supply kits for experiments and lessons. Tyree and Shadi are the two youth pictured in this slide from Ron Russell Middle School, said, "I wish my normal science classes were like AKA Science." So shout out to all the teachers out there thinking about ways to make science more interesting to kids. AKA Science might have some intelligence for you. Next slide, please. Community input on emerging needs prompted the levy to add foster care in 2008 and hunger relief in 2012 as new program areas. For many foster care youth, the time of transition out of foster care into the early adult years can be very challenging. And as Commissioner Ryan just pointed out, that's a very key point in life and in all youth's time when they're transitioning out of the high school into the next steps. At New Avenues for Youth, the Avenues to College program helps current and former foster youth access and succeed in college. So that was the picture you saw at the very beginning of the presentation. Here, Brittany Dillard, who's a program participant who is graduating from PSU this year, says, "The program assisted me during my process in applying for Portland State University, taught me the fundamentals when it came to writing a scholarship essay, and provided me with much needed support during difficult times. I couldn't ask for a better program to be part of my educational journey." Next slide. In Southeast Portland, a small team at Portland Opportunities Industrialization Center packages food bags and recipes that are distributed monthly to students and families across all POIC and Rosemary Anderson school campuses and community-based programs. POIC also provides emergency food at 3 school pantries. Pictured here is Deshaun Knuckles, an associate program coordinator at the POIC Youth Services Program. Knuckles graduated from Rosemary Anderson High School in 2020, and he previously participated in the school's levy-funded mentoring program. He said, "I appreciate being able to give food out. I hope to inspire somebody like me to give back. It's great." Next slide. Investments made in the levy's early years, especially in children's early years, can make a lasting impact, sometimes across entire families. All 4 of Hilda Ku's children participated in Listos para Aprender, which translates to Ready to Learn, a child development program offered by Morrison Child and Family Services, which has received funding again since the levy started. The program serves Latino children from birth through age 5 and their families, the majority of whom live east of 82nd Avenue. Services are all provided in Spanish and include home and virtual visits, parent-child groups, child development screenings, parenting assessments, and other family supports. Hilda, who's pictured here on the right, signed up for the program when she was in the hospital with her first child, Mael, who's now a freshman at the University of Oregon. Mael is pictured here graduating from Park Rose High School last year. Over the years, Mael watched her young siblings participate in the same program she did herself, and here's what she had to say. "It was interesting to see my siblings collaborate with other kids and play. The home visitations were still happening. Staff would always bring different books that had just come out, and it was interesting to be reading them to my little siblings and seeing how they react. They love learning." Okay, I'm going to introduce a little video, which you're going to see next if we're hopefully successful in all technological aspects. In response to community feedback, the levy in 2020 developed a small grants program to provide a more equitable pathway for smaller nonprofits to access levy funding for the first time. Nearly all small grants also feature disability inclusion goals to better serve children with disabilities, like the after-school program at Portland Tennis and Education. Portland Tennis and Education operates out of the St. John's Racket Center, which is a facility that is owned by Portland Parks and Recreation, which, like the levy, is also part of the Vibrant Community Service Area, as you just heard from Sonia. In this video, we'll get to meet Pedro, which is Portland Tennis and Education's first wheelchair scholar athlete. And with that, take it away.
Hi, my name is Pedro. When I play tennis, I feel strong and happy. Really happy. This is how I feel.
At PT&E, Pedro's our first wheelchair scholar athlete in the program. He has like a lot of inner strength. If we ask him to try something, he'll do it with a smile almost all the time. He enjoys doing things with his like friends and brothers around here. For our program, we offer tennis, education, tutoring, some life skills, among other activities.
Before our partnership with PCL, we weren't thinking about individuals with disabilities in such a focused way, and now we are. This grant has helped us become more inclusive of young people from all backgrounds and of all physical abilities. Having a multi-year partnership with the Portland Children's Levy allows us to really confidently start new programs and know that we can sustain them for years to come.
Como mi tío la aprieta fuerte, ahí me siento más fuerte y mi cuerpo se calma y lo puedo hacer mejor. Bye, adiós.
And last, let's hear from Carlos, who graduated from high school this year after being involved in the Portland Tennis and Education program for a decade. So that's the second video. Go ahead. Okay, it's coming up, I hope.
I'm Carlos Diaz-Leon. I'm a senior in high school.
Carlos started in our program very young, and now he's working for us. He's at the front desk, he's stringing rackets, he's getting on the court with the kids, and yeah, we couldn't be more proud of him.
When Carlos is out on the court as Coach Carlos, the young people in the program see him as a role model and as a mentor.
I can relate to the kids because I've also had that experience. Like, make sure that their hands are right on the racket, make sure the legs are correct, and if they get down, they think they can't do something, try to give them motivation to make them think that they can.
It's hard to imagine PT&E without Carlos and the Diaz de Leon family. Carlos is the youngest to go through the program. He has older siblings who have graduated. Carlos's mom works just down the street at our partner elementary school. She's also a member of our board of directors.
We kind of work as a team to kind of help out PT&E in general.
Family engagement is very important to us here at PT&E. We really try to build a safe environment and create relationships with the families so they trust us with their kids.
The best quality of PT&E is the community, very good mental support as well as physical and education support. No matter what you want to be or what you want to do, they're going to be there. PT&E, keep on doing what you're doing. You're changing kids' lives, and you've definitely changed mine.
Thanks, Keelan. Okay, now I want to turn it over to Campbell, who you just met in the video, Glenn Goronzik, if I said that right, and Alex Carmona Murillo, who is a participant in the program, and they're going to tell you a little bit about their experience.
Is this on? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm good? Okay.
Yeah, there you are.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having us here. We really appreciate the opportunity to be here. My name is Campbell Glenn Goronzik. I'm the executive director at Portland Tennis and Education, or PT&E, and I'll let Alex introduce himself.
Hello, I'm Alex Carmona. I've been a part of the program since I was in first grade, so about 11, 12 years now. I just graduated from Roosevelt High School, and I'm about to go to University of Oregon.
Awesome. Before we share a little bit more about PT&E, I want to say a huge thank you to
all of you for making this possible, to Commissioner Ryan for your oversight of the allocation committee and leadership within this initiative. It was really striking to see that pie chart and to see that a tiny sliver of it is the small grants cohort, which is what we're a part of. And so I can speak, and I know Alex can as well, to what a difference this initiative and the levy has made for us on the ground. And we are only a very, very narrow part of that narrow gray part. And so it's incredible to just think about the impact. And we're proud and grateful for the opportunity to be here. I also want to celebrate and recognize Lisa and her team. Erica Bridgman-Bunioli has been our main partner as a part of the small grants cohort. She is an incredible leader. And Yuxing Zhang as well, who's snapping pictures. I am just struck by, and you mentioned the freshness and you emphasized that as well, but having worked in the past in various governmental systems across Washington, D.C. and New York City, this is the government entity that I have seen that is the most transparent, the best communicators, the most dedicated to authentic storytelling, and not just trying to celebrate numbers on a page, but really trying to tell people's individual stories. So they are amazing leaders, and we as a city and as a grantee within the city are very, very lucky to work with them. So thank you all. And shout out to John Kelly as well for his financial support. So, as you hopefully got a bit of a sense of in the videos, Portland Tennis in Education, or PT&E, is a community hub in North Portland. We are in the St. John's area. As Lisa mentioned, we run out of the St. John's Racket Center. We have a 20-year lease for $1 a year on that building. We are incredibly fortunate to be on the receiving end of that partnership. And our organization has been around for coming up on 30 years. So the NET group has 2 years on us. We were founded in 1996. But we took over the lease of the St. John's Racket Center in 2012 after a couple of years sort of experimenting with that partnership. It's been a really incredible partnership. We are very fortunate that we are able to run our kids program, which we'll share more about, our after school and summer program, out of the 3-court indoor tennis facility. Pickleball is also really picking up steam, and we do pickleball programs as well. But in the hours that the kids are not on site, we are a totally open to the public, non-membership based community hub, safe haven, offering health-focused activities for people of all ages and all abilities. So we are really lucky that partnership enables us to both serve kids very deeply and to also serve the St. John's community and the racket sports community more broadly. I will let Alex share a bit more about his story, but as he mentioned in his introduction, he's been a part of the program for over a decade. You heard the same from Carlos in the video, and they each, and Pedro as well, who's on the younger side of the kids that we serve, have been a part of our nonprofit youth program. So we have really 2 big things that we do. We'll focus mostly on the kids program by nature of being here as a part of the children's levy, but we offer tuition-free comprehensive supports for youth ages kindergarten through 12th grade. We are an after-school and summer program that over the course of a year offers 1,000 hours of out-of-school time for young people. And that focuses on a combination of academic support, athletic instruction, life skills, the things that often you don't learn in school, how to write a check, how to check your credit, how to cook fajitas, all sorts of things like that. But we also really support the families of the kids who are part of the program. We know in many cases the kids that we work with might be making it further educationally than their families did. And in many cases, it's really valuable to bring their family into our fold, into a part of our education programs and help them learn things like, here's how to support your young people with the FAFSA as they're navigating potential college applications. So in the past few years, I've been a part of Portland Tennis in Education this is my 4th year as a part of PT&E, but with support from the levy, we've been able to make some significant strides and to grow and to evolve a lot of new needs, especially coming out of COVID. So we've added some positions that have helped us really focus on acute needs. We've added an instructional specialist, a youth and family advocate to address some of the culturally specific needs of the community that we serve. the community of young people that we serve is composed of 91% of kids and families in our program identify as Black, Indigenous, or people of color. 83% of those come from a home in which a language other than English is spoken. And then between 90 to 100 of the students in our K through 12 nonprofit come from households where their family qualifies for free and reduced meals. Those who don't qualify fall just above it, and we believe it's really important to provide supports for them as well on a sliding scale. One metric that we're incredibly proud of is that since our founding in 1996, 100% of the students who have been a part of Portland Tennis and Education's comprehensive programs when they were in 12th grade, 100% of those 12th graders have graduated from high school on time. That is a stark comparison to the number that you all know hovers in the 70% range, especially at the local high school just down the street from us. So, like I said, I think the levy does an amazing job of telling stories and not just giving numbers. And so I'm excited to share that just a couple of months ago, we got to watch Alex walk across the stage down at Providence Park, graduating from Roosevelt High School. So I will let Alex share a little bit more about in the decade that he's been over a decade, that he's been a part of PT&E, what the program has meant to him as a scholar athlete, as we call the young people in our program. So Alex, take it away.
Yeah. So I've been part of a program for 10 plus years now. The program has meant like a lot to my family because even though I've been a part of it for 10 plus years, I think my family has been a part of it for 15, starting with my cousin, who joined a couple years before me, and then my brother, then me, now my sister, who's in the program right now, actually. The program has meant a lot to me because it gave me the chance to have a support system that like I didn't think would be like there if not for the program. They gave me countless hours of help since elementary to now going into college. Sorry. I do recall. Sorry, I'm just thinking about it. When I was younger, a couple of harder times, like with my dad's residency status. He was not a resident to begin with, and so he had to go to Mexico for 6 months to get his green card. And I remember that being a hard time on my family, and even me. I think I was around the age of 6. It was a hard time for my family, but I think having PT&E for my family helped us a lot because I got a lot of after-school help for my homework, which my mom wasn't able to help me with because she was a full-time worker and already having 3 kids. And so PT&E, like, it just gave me the coaches and the guidance to make me like, what's the word? Sorry. It just gave me the guidance that I needed to keep going in that hard moment. And now my dad being back, he's been with us since then. It's been great because we've still been a part of the program and I still continue to get guidance even though my situation is better. Yeah, and then just it has get like I've gone countless friends who I've had for decades now. And just as I said, the community has really just made me feel really intertwined with everyone because I've gotten friends from my age to even like people 20 years older than me. So, and it's just nice having everyone with me and still having the people who I met originally who just recently came to my graduation, like my mentor, Franklin Strong. I think she was the executive director when I started, Dennis Brown. She wasn't able to attend my graduation, but she sent me a lot of lovely letters and mailed me, so that was really nice. And yeah.
Awesome.
Alex is the only person up here with no notes.
That's true.
Well done.
Yeah. The young people will save us all. So Thank you, Alex. Thanks for being willing to share your story. And yeah, Alex and his family have been a really important part of our PT&E family for many years. His sister Eileen is still in the program, as he mentioned. And part of what I think is striking about what Alex shared, which was just straight from the heart, as you know, is there was little mention of tennis. Tennis is, of course, a critical part of what we do. Tennis is, I call it the hook that we use to bring people into our community and get them excited about moving and playing. And we go into Portland Public Schools PE classes and do little tennis demonstrations to get the kids fired up about being a part of a new sport. But really, it's about the community. It's about the comprehensive supports that we provide. And the levy has been amazing in funding various parts of what we do that are well beyond the sport of tennis. Something that I think is incredibly powerful about the community hub that we have in St. John's is that for so long, tennis and racket sports and many sports in general have been access to those sports has been based on the resources that you have and what you look like and the people that you know. And so it is critical to us and incredibly powerful to see that in St. John's, at the St. John's Racket Center, at PT&E, the people who are playing tennis there are not necessarily the people that you typically see out on the courts. And we think that is so important to be a model of who can have access to things like this. Do you have to be a member of a country club? Absolutely not. So we really believe that. And something that is really important to us as well is, in addition to serving the young people who we agree are the future of everything and how important it is to invest in them, but our program also, or our facility, as I said, in the hours that we're not supporting young people, is open to the public, no membership, low cost, accessible sport and opportunity for people of all ages, backgrounds, identities, physical abilities. And you met Pedro in the video, who is a young man who uses a wheelchair. We offer adaptive tennis for young people in partnership with Shriners Hospital. We also offer adaptive tennis for adults, and those are free clinics that we're able to offer, and in part thanks to funds from the levy. But we really see tennis and pickleball now as a vehicle for access, for the life skills and the character building that can come from being a part of a sport and a community. So we've also been really focusing on culturally specific groups who have historically been marginalized from the sport and other opportunities. We've been doing things like BIPOC pickleball night or an LGBT pride night to bring people in to play tennis again, but really as a vehicle for community and connection. So we are, again, just continually grateful for the support that you all have provided and the levy has provided. I could go on and on about what I think makes this program so special, but I'll pass it over to Alex in case he thought of anything that I missed that you want to share about what makes PT&E a special place to be. Alex is also a member of our staff and works to welcome people who are a part of the public patronage. So anything else awesome about PT&E that you want to highlight?
I think one thing that I didn't really talk about was like some of the opportunity that they have. Like I remember when I was in elementary, I don't recall if it was the now mayor, but the mayor, he came to us. He came to our facility and was just like talking to us. And I remember at the time being like really scared of like the big mayor, like like what
Couldn't have been me.
Yeah, no. I do. And then I remember him walking in with, I remember white sneakers and being like, oh, he seems like a nice, chill guy. So it's just like nice, like meeting different people and just having the opportunity that I didn't think I would have if not for the program. Like I remember also like when I was starting, like being nervous to like play tennis because like me playing tennis, it felt weird. And like I did get a little made fun of from my friends at the time, but I grew to love it and I still play to this day. So yeah.
Very good. Great.
He's very humble. He made it a long ways in the district tournaments this year, and
Nice.
is also toward the very top of his class at Roosevelt. So a true scholar athlete.
All right. Thank you so much for being here. That is the end of our presentation. I know we're over time. Thank you. Testimony and questions, and then I think we'll accept the report.
Keelan, do we have public testimony?
No one signed up.
I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
Commissioner Gonzalez moves to accept the report. I'll accept a second.
Yeah, second.
Commissioner Ryan, seconds. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Gonzalez.
What a great report. Thank you, guys. That was fantastic. Thank you for testifying. I vote to accept the report.
Maps.
I want to thank the mayor and Commissioner Ryan for bringing this item forward. And thank you so much for this uplifting presentation. It's always great to check in with this program. I vote aye.
Rubio.
I want to thank, excuse me, I want to thank the Director Pellegrino and our guests today. It was a great report. I'm a huge fan of the Children's Levy. I've seen firsthand how it improves people's lives. These investments are very thoughtfully made and intentionally made, and the assessment is just rigorous in a good way and invested in trusted organizations, so voters can be proud of that. So very happy to vote aye.
Ryan.
Yes. I want to start off by just acknowledging you, Lisa. It's really good to see how the program's evolved under your leadership. Erica, I'm glad the small gifts program was lifted, and that we had a testimony from one of the guests. It was, I came into the program overseeing it when that was being launched, and it really is making a difference. So I'm glad that was called out. Campbell, your enthusiasm is wonderful to be around. And Pedro, or not, you're not Pedro. Pedro was in the video. You're Alex. Thanks for being here, and thanks for being yourself. And no need to ever apologize where you're taking some time to just make sure that you're speaking your truth. It's really refreshing, actually. And good luck with your transition to University of Oregon. I get to be the only one up here that says I went to Roosevelt High School and then University of Oregon, so I feel connected to you in that way. And I'm just really thrilled with hearing how the program will continue to evolve. I hope in 2 years, I'll probably say something like this. I hope to hear about more programs from those 18 to 24-year-olds that are finding their way, maybe in the trades, and hearing those stories as we do all we can to make sure our youth are set up for social and economic mobility by the age 24. Thank you so much, Children's Levy. I vote aye.
Wheeler.
So this is the last report I'm going to hear from the Portland Children's Levy. So there's a couple of things I want to say. First of all, I've had the pleasure of serving on the allocation committee not once but twice in 2 different elected roles. First as the chair of Multnomah County, and then later as the mayor of the city of Portland. And I want to say something about you, Lisa. You exemplify what is possible as a public servant. And you don't get a lot of attention. You don't get a lot of thanks for the work that you do. But the Children's Levy has been your life's work. And you have done brilliantly. And just looking at the slides that were presented earlier and considering the 150,000 people that in some way received services basically in 1 year, I think about the now decades of service that you have provided to the Children's Levy. And I think about the hundreds of thousands of people who have received support and encouragement from you and your team and the work that you have done diligently. And it's a good thing we don't hear much about the Children's Levy. There are a lot of programs that I wish we didn't hear about as often as we hear about. But you have been an excellent soldier. You have marched forward. You have helped young individuals like Alex blossom into successful and excellent adults and become, in turn, engaged and invested in our community in a positive way. And I just want to say that before I disappear into the sunset, that I see the work you've done. You have mattered, and you will continue to matter. And your whole team will as well. I would also be remiss if I did not remember Dan Saltzman and his significant contributions to this effort. And I think it's a good example for all of us that what may seem like a small idea or just a thought at one time, as the years tick by, those ideas suddenly become central to what we are as a community. And I don't know, Dan probably doesn't listen to these presentations anymore, or maybe he does. But Dan, if you're listening, I see what you have done here as well. And it's impressive. and it's developed into something that's now integral to the service delivery to young people in this community. And I want to acknowledge your contributions and and accept my gratitude to you for the hundreds of thousands of young people in this community who have received support. Finally, I want to tell a funny story. Well, at least it's funny to me. It may not be funny to any of you, but I have the mic, so that's that. Years ago, Nancy Pelosi came to Portland, Oregon to stump for Barack Obama when he was running for president. I honestly don't remember if it was first or second term, but she came to my house and she was fundraising for the Obama campaign. And she was late, as is often the case on the campaign trail. And there's a house full of people waiting to hear her speak and rally the troops. And she pulls up out front, she gets out of her car, and she's quickly working her way up the stairs, and then she stops. And she points and she goes, "What is that?" And what she's pointing to was a children's levy campaign sign that was stuck in our front yard. And for 5 minutes, we're outside talking about the children's levy. And she's like, "That's a great idea. That's brilliant. This is exactly the kind of thing that communities should be doing." And then she remembered she had a fundraiser, and then she went and she started her fundraiser by talking about the sign she'd just seen for the Portland Children's Levy, and what a great innovative Portland thing that was, and how other communities should take note of what was being done in Portland, Oregon. So I share those with you by way of saying this is a program that is important. I hope the City Council will continue its strong support, as it has over many, many years of this program going forward. And I want to acknowledge all of the people who work for the Children's Levy, the volunteers who support, and the hundreds of programs and the thousands of adults and young people in this community who work alongside as allies of those organizations to make them successful. Because what are we as a community if we don't take care of our young? And this program is proof that in Portland, Oregon, we do. I vote aye, and the report is accepted. And some of us will see you next year.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
For your kind words.
Thank you.
Move to do we need to take a break? Where are we? Why don't we take a couple of minute break? Why don't we take a 3 minute, 4 minute-ish break? We're in recess. back in session. We'll move to item 652, please. Proclamation.
Proclaim July 27th, 2024 to be Jim Pepper Day.
And I will turn this over to Commissioners Rubio and Maps for their opening remarks.
Commissioner Rubio, Jeff, I don't have any formal remarks, but I do see Sean in the audience. Sean, do you want to come up? And if there's anyone else who is
I have
part
some
of-
remarks.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Colleagues, it's an honor to be here today recognizing the life and work of Jim Pepper. Last year, I was proud to join Congressman Blumenauer and the Bureau of Planning and Sustainability's Historic Resources Program and Sean Cruz of the Jim Pepper Native Arts Council to add the Pepper family home in Park Rose to the U.S. National Register of Historic Places. This long overdue addition recognizes the home's significance as Oregon's first historic site designated for contemporary Indigenous history. And Sean had asked City Council to support the nomination of this property to the National Register as a part of our commitment to equitable historic preservation. So I'm thrilled that there was an enthusiastic support for this from our colleagues on council and in the bureaus, and we were proud to put this resource where it needed to make it happen. So it's my hope that this effort has opened the door to be as wide as possible for other Indigenous stories to be brought forward about our cultural landscape here in the city. So just a little bit about the Peppers. The Peppers are an important part of Portland history. Floyd and Gilbert Pepper purchased the Park Rose house in 1949, just a year after being evacuated from the infamous Vanport flood, and their son Jim was only 7 years old. And Jim was deeply shaped and influenced by his Kaw and Muskogee Creek roots, and his home served as the backdrop during his adolescent and young adult years. And during his life, his innovation and collaboration touched countless lives, not just here in our city, but across the country and internationally as well. So today we give a special honor to the Pepper family, Jim, and also special recognition to Sean Cruz and his longtime advocacy in our community. So with that, I will stop there and turn it back over to you.
Commissioner Rubio, thank you for those excellent remarks. I'm very excited for this day. I'll tell you, folks, I used to sit on the board of directors for the Jim Pepper Native Arts Festival, so this is one of the things that is near and dear to my heart. And I will tell you, folks, if you haven't been exposed to the Jim Pepper Native Arts Festival or Jim Pepper, we have probably the world's foremost scholar and advocate and fan of Jim Pepper with us today, Sean Cruz. Sean, it is great to see you here today. If I recall correctly, you used to also be the chief of staff for Yvel Gordley. I've been in your home many times, which is, if I remember correctly, is also the home of Jim Pepper. So I'm so glad to have you here today, and I'll turn the floor over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Maps and Commissioner Rubio, for your support and wonderful comments. And I've been a Portland resident since 1996, and I'm very grateful for the action that the council has taken today and the support in the past. And on behalf of the family of Jim Pepper, who are all in Oklahoma now, I want to convey their gratitude at this honoring. And I'm grateful for the trust and encouragement that I've gotten from the Jim Pepper family. And I also am grateful for all the help and support that I've gotten from people along the path, organizations along the path, and most particularly my hardworking and courageous and other good things board of directors, past and present, currently led by Rebecca Wonke, a citizen of the Cherokee Nation, and because none of this would be happening without all of you. And the Jim Pepper Native Arts Council is a small 501c3 nonprofit with minimal staff, but large vision of transforming K-12 education in the state of Oregon. And our mission is, we've always had an educational mission, and that is to improve access to culturally relevant music education in Jim Pepper's name, and reflecting the educational legacy of his mother, Floyd Pepper. And Floyd is credited with being the writer of Indians in Oregon Today, Oregon Middle School, High School curriculum for the Oregon Department of Education. She authored several books and monographs and received the U.S. Department of Education Lifetime Achievement Award for her dedication and outstanding contributions to improving education for all children. Since 2014, we produced 11 annual Jim Pepper Native Arts Festivals on the campus of Park Rouge High School. And those events have always been free admission, family-friendly, featuring Native artists, musicians, activists, vendors, foods, Indians modeling success, and healthy living. And they've always been free, with opportunities for students to perform. And in 2002, I found myself living in the house that I'd bought and I was living in. I learned that it had been the Pepper family home for 50 years. And that was in the spring when I met the Pepper family and Floyd Pepper for the first time, and she was in her mid-80s. And in the fall of that year, Senator Gordley hired me to serve as our legislative staff, which I did for the next 6 years. And I just wanted to say that the influence of those two outstanding women are in everything that I've ever done since. Everything. It's those two. And I feel really, really fortunate that it was me that fell into this. And what I want to say is we began developing concepts for culturally relevant music education about 7 years ago, and aware that in K-12 schools, there's a utter absence of music that's culturally relevant for Native students. And this absence contributes to the high dropout rate and other negative indicators that Native kids deal with. In the urban setting, they're a tiny minority in every school that they're in, and in an environment that's full of stereotypes. And in rural settings, well, they're far from resources and still a tiny minority. The Native population in the state has been reduced to somewhere between 0.6 and 1.6% of the state's population. Yeah. And so we raised funds, and we hired a team of Indigenous educators, 4 with PhDs, led by Dr. Brooke Colley, PhD, who is chair of Native American Studies at Southern Oregon University. And she put together this incredible team that we've been fortunate enough to work with. The council built an archive of Native music, musicians, songs, bands that would be relevant. And with a mission that we had to create a class that would actually draw the kids in, and particularly now, you know, with the state chronic absenteeism rate at 30% statewide. And well, you're all aware of the problems happening in K-12 schools everywhere. And but if we didn't find a way to draw those kids into the classroom and engage in learning, well, everything is failing. So we created a class where the kids are going to come in and they're going to study the musicians and the music that they know and love. and get academic credit for that. That really shouldn't be complicated, you know, but also when you look at the music that Native music is rich, regardless of genre, is rich in cultural and historical topics, history, and you can't study their music without actually getting into those topics. And those topics are all, you know, in another bucket than music. But we call our curriculum Speak, Sing, Native. And in that class, we welcome in not only the music that these kids love, but also indigenous languages. And I'm not sure if we're the first. Our strategy is the first to actually welcome indigenous languages into the classroom, but that's a fundamental part of who these kids are. When we were volunteering at Chamawa Indian School in Salem before COVID, we had a band building program there, and we surveyed the kids who come from Oregon, but all over the Western United States in all kinds of circumstances. And we asked them if they spoke their tribal language. And of the 34 kids that turned in surveys, 26 of them said yes. And among them, they named 14 different languages, 14 in one class. And there is no way to know what languages are spoken in students' homes and Native homes in the Portland metro area, because I don't think anybody is tracking that in their schools. But in our class, that's a fundamental piece. And the Oregon Department of Education has been evaluating our concept for a year and a half now. And we are now in contract with the department and Southern Oregon ESD to edit and write new curriculum for grades K2, 3-5, 6-8, and 9-12. And those classes will be available statewide and free of charge. And any student who requests access to the course should have access. And that's the department's stand on that. We couldn't be happier. And I could talk more about that, but I asked Gordon Lee, pianist and composer who worked with Jim Pepper for many years, to provide a statement from his perspective. And I'd like to read that into the record. And so when I say I or me, I'm actually speaking for Gordon Lee. Before I say that, Jim is remembered and recognized all over, you know, in Europe particularly, and Indian country, of course. And one of the ways that he's remembered and honored in New York City is at the American Indian Community House there, where they say, Jim Pepper is remembered for his contributions to the jazz music scene and the Native music scene, and for expanding perceptions and expectations in both genres. And I've always loved that. And it just describes, well, you'll hear what Gordon had to say. Jim Pepper was the most powerful artistic influence in my life. I've played music with many great musicians, but it was Jim Pepper who left the most profound impression on me and how to create music. I first met Jim in 1978 and played with him for 14 years until his death in 1992. We played all over the U.S. and Europe and at the National Conference of American Indians in 1981 and 1984. He introduced me to many great musicians, such as Don Cherry, Bob Moses, Bill Frisell, and Elvin Jones. I got to know him very well. We were even roommates in my apartment in Brooklyn in the early 1980s. He became like the big brother that I had never wanted. but his criticisms of my playing were always accurate, even if they hurt. Watching him slowly succumb to cancer at the age of 50 was devastating. I played his last gig with him at the Brasserie Walmart in downtown Portland only a couple of weeks before he passed. Jim moved to New York City in the early 1960s, and by 1965, the future legends Larry Coryell and Bob Moses, along with Portland's Chris Hills and Columbus Chip Baker, formed the Free Spirits, credited with being the first jazz rock fusion band in music history, years before Miles Davis's endeavors in that realm. His 15-minute sonic depiction of the Battle of the Little Bighorn, he named Custer Gibson, recorded in 1967 with an all-star band, is a masterpiece of free jazz and storytelling. Along with Don Cherry, he was an early contributor to the genre that came to be known as world music. Encouraged by Ornette Coleman and others, Pepper began bringing tribal songs into his music. His blending of American Indian music, jazz, and rhythm and blues was completely unique when he recorded his first album as a leader, Jim Pepper's Power, in 1971. He was the first human being who brought these different sounds from different cultures together. He was an American original. On a train in Austria, he told me, unquote, "In the end, it doesn't make sense to not be yourself," unquote, to not play your musical self, no matter how difficult and thorny that self is. Indeed, Pepper could stylistically jump from avant-garde jazz to gospel country effortlessly and very naturally, despite many people and critics saying, "You can't do that." Maybe Pepper's greatest lesson for me as an artist was that you must play from the bottom of your soul every time you play. It didn't matter how you felt, how much money you made, who was in the audience, and who wasn't in the audience. All that was superfluous to the fact that expressing yourself musically was a spiritual act that was bigger than you. It must be a pure action. In many ways, Jim was not a very spiritual person, yet a frequent reaction to his music was people in the audience crying because of the spiritual feeling that arose. Jim Pepper had moved people to tears with the beauty of his music. It is very good that the city of Portland is recognizing this unique artist. Signed, Gordon Lake. And I want the plaque, so perhaps we could get a group report afterwards.
Absolutely.
And this is Jim Pepper's Powwow, and recorded in 1971. And I actually had heard Jim in 1970 without knowing it at a mind-blowing concert Larry Coryell's band was playing. And I had no idea. I forgot the name of the saxophone player in that band. So when I looked for him, the only clues I had was in Larry Coryell's band. I know he looks like, he sounds like, and I never found him. I looked for him for years, and then 30 odd years later, I find myself living in his house, and I just met his mom, and she gave me this record, her CD of this record, which connected me to Larry Coryell and that particular experience, and that's how I came. And I thank you all.
Thank you. All right, colleagues, at this point, I will open it up to comments. Commissioner Mapps?
Sure. Sean, I want to thank you for coming in today, and I appreciate your advocacy on behalf of Jim Pepper, East Portland, and the Native American community in particular. Your old boss, Senator Gordley, watches these sessions, and I know that she's listening in now and proud of you. And I will tell you, I've known you for more than a decade, and we've worked on many projects together, and I'm awfully proud of you too. And I also want to say this, colleagues, I'm delighted to join you in proclaiming June 27th, 2024 to be Jim Pepper Day here in in Portland, Oregon. The purpose of Jim Pepper Day is to honor and celebrate the life and legacy of Jim Pepper, who was a great Portlander, Native American, and influential figure in the world of jazz. As we've heard, Jim Pepper was a master of the saxophone, but beyond his musical achievements, Jim Pepper was also a passionate advocate for Indigenous peoples' rights. His legacy is celebrated here in this room today and through multiple awards and recognitions, including inductions into several music halls of fame and being honored at several major music festivals, including the upcoming 12th annual Jim Pepper Native Arts Music Festival, which will be held on July 27th at Columbia Park Annex, which I guess is a new venue for us. I'll tell you, folks, a while back, I used to be one of my annual rituals is to help Sean pull this event together. It's always so much fun. It's educational, it's community building, it's free. I encourage everyone to go out on July 27th at Columbia Park Annex. It really is a remarkable and unique Portland experience. And I want to thank Sean and his team for helping make it happen. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner Ryan.
Yes, thanks. First of all, thank you, Sean. That was so well done. It was really easy to follow along and listen to every word you had to say. It was really compelling. And I want to acknowledge the heavy lifting that you've all done to actually move the Oregon Department of Education. That's no small feat. So I didn't want to let that go by without just mentioning how appreciative I am of your advocacy. I can only imagine how many years that you worked on that. And so congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a really big deal. And I also want to say that, anyway, he died too soon, obviously. And you had so many great stories there, so I won't repeat them. And like Commissioner Mapps, I'm looking forward to the event on the 27th of July at the Columbia Park Annex. It'll be a great day. And now it'll have so much more meaning to me because I listened to you today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Gonzalez.
Thank you, Sean, for your presentation. Really a celebration of life and of both our city's rich arts history and our Indigenous ties. Thank you.
All right, very good. And I also want to thank you for bringing the historical perspective as well as helping to inform us and educate us on the importance of the work of Jim Pepper. It's now my honor to read the proclamation on behalf of the City Council. Whereas James Gilbert, Jim Pepper, was born in Salem on June 18, 1941, to Gilbert Pepper of the Kaw Nation and Floy C. Pepper of the Muskogee Creek Nation, both educators at Chemawa Indian School, whereas Jim's family relocated to the Park Rose neighborhood following the 1948 Vanport flood, having previously moved to Vanport, where Gilbert worked in the shipyards. And whereas Jim Pepper emerged as a pioneering musician and composer, known for his mastery of the tenor and soprano saxophones, the flute, and his contributions to jazz rock fusion with his band, the Free Spirits, and later recordings including Jim Pepper's Powwow. And whereas Jim gained international acclaim with over 50 albums and his collaborations extended across the United States, Canada, Europe, and Africa with jazz legends and numerous Oregonian musicians, enhancing the music scene here significantly. Whereas Jim Pepper advocated for Indigenous people's rights through the benefit concerts he provided and as a musical director for the Night of the First Americans at the John F. Kennedy Center in 1980. And whereas Jim Pepper passed away from lymphoid cancer in February of 1992 at his home in Portland, Oregon at the age of 50. And whereas his innovative fusion of Native American song with jazz, African, South American, and Caribbean rhythms left a lasting legacy. And whereas Jim Pepper's legacy was honored with multiple awards, including posthumous induction into several music halls of fame, and was celebrated at events such as the Portland Jazz Festival and the Cathedral Park Jazz Festival. And whereas The Pepper family home was listed in the U.S. National Register of Historic Places in 2023, recognizing its significance as Oregon's first historic site designated for contemporary Indigenous history. And whereas the Jim Pepper Native Arts Council is working to advance culturally relevant music education across Oregon through its Speak, Sing Native curriculum dedicated to the memory and the spirit of Floy C. Pepper. And whereas on July 27th, 2024, the 12th annual Jim Pepper Native Arts Festival will be held at Columbia Park Annex, produced by Portland Parks and Recreation's Summer Free-for-All program. Now, therefore, I, Ted Wheeler, Mayor of the City of Portland, Oregon, the City of Roses, do hereby proclaim July 27th, 2024 to be Jim Pepper Day in Portland and encourage all residents to observe this day. Thank you. Commissioner Mapps?
Well, two things. Sean, did you want to get a picture with council on the plaque?
Sure.
It's his reputation.
I know.
We'll take a 1-minute recess. We had one item pulled from consent. Typically, pulled items go at the end of the agenda, but we have a couple of citizens who would like to testify, and they've been waiting very, very patiently. So if there's no objection, I'd like to move 635 to the next item, please.
Authorize grant agreements with 4 nonprofit district coalitions to support neighborhood associations, the Neighborhood Small Grant Program, and eligible community groups supported through city-run offices.
Colleagues, over the last few days, my office and the Office of Community and Civic Life have received a few questions from the community about these grant agreements specifically. It's for that reason that I decided to pull this item off the consent agenda and give staff the opportunity to provide an overview. I want to start by welcoming our new interim assistant city administrator, Annie Von Berg, who now oversees civic life, and the to-be-hired incoming engagement officer. She's joined by Civic Life Director Murad Rotby, District Coalition Office Program Supervisor Kim Dixon, and Haley Blonsley from my office. With that, I'll hand it over to Annie to kick us off.
All right, thank you. I think this is on. Thank you so much for that welcome. For the record, Annie Von Berg, Interim Assistant City Administrator. I've only been on the job for a couple days here, so I'm going to pass it over to the experts that have been working really hard on this. But before I do that, I did want to acknowledge that I personally have heard some questions and concerns from neighborhood associations about and around sustainable support and services from the district coalition offices, especially as we transition into this new model. So I wanted to give a brief overview of just a couple steps that we'll be taking this year as an update, both to address those concerns and questions that we've received, and then also to follow up and deliver on some of the things that we heard from council conversations and feedback, especially during the budget 24-25 process. So with that, I first want to let you know that we're working still really strongly on getting the engagement officer hired. So the transition team has completed now a recruitment plan and timeline. And has kicked off an internal engagement process to support that. We'll also be going out to community and doing engagement. Those engagement processes will inform kind of the definition of this position that we're looking for. It'll also inform the authority levels and the expectations for how this officer will be working with our new service areas. And so that we look forward to as we wrap up those engagement processes. Ideally, we're looking to have somebody in place the end of this year, beginning of next year. The second step that we'll be taking this year to address some of those questions and concerns is going out to all of the neighborhood associations within the 4 districts. And that's to solicit feedback on how we would revise ONI standards. So long overdue revisions to the standards that you all know that do guide requirements and expectations for district coalition offices. We'll be doing that also in conjunction with an internal process to look at our code and rule on revising that, syncing that, and making sure that we're able to go into this new system with standards that represent a more modern program. Third, also with those engagement processes, we'll be looking at gathering feedback on a new request for proposal or RFP process. That's to get the process set for these district coalitions and really defining expectations for what that support looks like. That will also guide contract packages, funding decisions that go through budget processes, and again, expectations for the delivery of services. So that's a lot of work that we have planned for this year, but we really are looking at this as a great opportunity, as the mayor said, as a reset for some of this programming and to transition this into a more robust, sustainable, and modern program to better deliver services to neighborhoods throughout the city. So with that, I'll switch it over to Murad.
All right. Mayor, Commissioners, Administrator, I'm glad to be here today. My name is Murad Radbi, for the record, the Director of the Office of Community and Civic Life. So we have prepared a presentation pretty much summarizing the work that has been taken for the last fiscal year leading to the ordinance being presented today. And with no further ado, I will give it back to Kimberly Dixon, the program owner for the District Coalition offices.
Well, it's no longer good morning. I was ready for a good morning, so good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Mayor Wheeler, fellow city council commissioners, City Administrator Jordan, so happy to be here. And it is with a great sense of accomplishment that I get to speak out to you about one of my favorite topics, our communities within the city of Portland. And more specifically, I'm ecstatic to talk about our neighborhood program in its new 4-district form. As we know, our city is made up of 94 neighborhood associations that were formerly in a 7-district model clustering. With our charter reform efforts, our interim director saw a path of aligning our program with the redistricting efforts at hand. So if you look at, next slide, slide 3, this slide provides our official date of July 1st, 2024 to be our change to a 4-district model, but I want you to know, and our public at large to know, that we at Civic Life, under the leadership of our interim director, Murad Radbi, began this heavy lift with our 4 external nonprofit partners, District Coalition offices, back in January. And under that direction, we did not wait until the last minute to be strategic, inclusive, responsive, and innovative. Director Radbi made space for me to lead the charge of the organizational culture development internally and externally with our partners. You see on this slide is what we believe the alignment of the redistricting would do. It would ensure that DCOs, district coalition offices, would serve roughly equal populations, increase DCOs' ability to advocate for those in their area, increase DCOs' ability to coordinate with city liaisons to navigate policy and code, which, by the way, as I think we all know, is no small feat on any given day, and ensure especially that city councilors now and in our near future can work with the offices to engage with constituents. I believe that the latter is one of the most profound answers to the voices we have heard over time. What you don't quote unquote see here, and perhaps you heard about, is our staff and our nonprofit DCOs hosting 4 different info sessions beginning back in January to bring the messaging around redistricting, services, and support across the city. We utilize technology, social media, and good old-fashioned word of mouth in this effort to share and engage. Now, our how of all of this amazingness is through our change agentry approach, part of which is helping to de-silo ourselves, the offering and implementation of services and resources that build the bridges for folks to be heard and engaged and part of making our city its best self. This carried over into our engagements with other bureaus and committees such as GTAC. Next slide. I'd be remiss, oh, it's not there, never mind, we omitted that slide, but let me chat about this. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that our neighborhood support and outreach program would be impossible without our engagement coordinators. They focus on 5 specific verticals that are found in the scope of work for each of our district coalition offices. No surprise, we led with civic engagement, in-district capacity building, communications, operational support, and of course, direct investment into community through small grants. My team is made up of some talented and skilled individuals who are what I like to call the 4 C's: conduits, conveners, connectors, and conveyors. What's a day in the life of an engagement coordinator? Well, I'm so super glad you asked. We partnered to ensure every neighborhood knew the steps to put themselves in good standing as a 501c3. We have engaged with those who want to bring back their neighborhood associations and engage with the city. We've been an ear to field frustrations and complaints. Not that we ourselves could always bring complete resolution, but we could support and outline steps for folks to follow, walk through, and engage with processes. We've seen projects come to fruition to help navigate the grants process and funding some amazing projects to support our city being safer, healthier, and overarchingly fun. So now here, I'm going to show you on this slide just a snippet of what each of these 5 verticals entail with examples of the deliverables. It's a lot of words there, and nobody wants me reading slides to them, so I'm not going to read the slides to you. But before I move on, I'm going to off-road, and I've been known to do this. I'd like to take this moment to say thank you. Thank you all for your dedication in your public service. Commissioner Ryan, thank you and your staff, in particular TJ McHugh, for your care of the Office of Civic Life and our 94 represented neighborhoods, and especially to our current interim director, Murad Ratbi, for being unwavering throughout this tremendous time of change and transition. Mayor Wheeler, thank you and your staff for endeavoring with us as we continued to evolve and find efficiencies. Thank you for continuing to champion the people of this great city in our 94 neighborhoods. Interim Assistant Administrator Onberg, I say a thank you to you for picking up the baton for the next leg of this marathon. We look forward to serving alongside you. Thank you to the amazing executive directors that I've had the pleasure of creating better with. Allison Stoll of CNN, Darlene Urban Garrett, and WNW, Jonna Davis, NECN, Nancy Champlin, soul. Your dedication and resilience is more than appreciated. I'd also like to take note that since we, as a city, have partnered with these 4 organizations since 1974 under the Neighborhood Outreach and Support Program, 50 years of investment, 50 years of relationship building, 50 years of partnership. I'd also like to thank volunteers that we've seen earlier today as an example, who help support us all throughout the city with their time, their talents. We see you. Thank you to the businesses who continue to pour into the city with their ingenuity and grit. And finally, I'd like to thank the entire staff of the Office of Community and Civic Life, including those most recently moved on from us. We have truly stood upon the shoulders of those who labored before us and have galvanized to carry forth our mission to connect Portlanders with city government to build inclusive, safe, and livable communities. With that, I'd like to show you my final slide. Well, the one I like to say, let me show you the money. More specifically, where is it going? I think of significance when I look at this slide is the 2 columns. I know you've seen budgets, et cetera, but the 2 right-hand columns represent one-time funding that you have agreed upon. The charter reform support and the redistrict insurance-related expenses. And Murad, I don't know if you want to go into a little bit further detail on that at all?
Yeah, I can provide like a very brief overview on the numbers. It's hard to follow pretty much on your great presentation, so I'll do my best here. And here we can see a breakdown pretty much of the different fundings as they will be allocated per district, as mentioned by Kimberly. We will be working with the 4 nonprofits listed on the screen. The district voting reform presented like a unique opportunity for the Office of Community and Civic Life and for the city at large to finally ensure some type of equality in the allocation of the envelopes. As we all know, the voting districts have been created somehow equally from a demographic perspective, and our office specifically relies on a partnership with the Portland State University's Data and Research Center to ensure that the adequate envelopes will go to each district. So on the screen here, we have 4 columns. The 2 first ones are showing pretty much the base funding for the 4 separate grants that we have with the 4 partners or the 4 nonprofits that will be providing the neighborhood services as listed in the 5 verticals mentioned by Kimberly earlier. The second column shows pretty much the amount of the small grant competitive structure that each of these nonprofits will be providing to their respective in-district neighborhood associations and community-based organizations. For the very first time, we were able to come up with a more standardized approach as far as the different fundings and allocations. The second column represents 10% of the first column, and it is also the very first time that we have a standardized scope of work for all organizations. So again, thank you to the 4 nonprofits for their flexibility and for their understanding through these massive transition and reform times. And lastly, thanks to the mayor's office support to the neighborhood services, to the nonprofits, and to the Office of Community and Civic Life, following some decision packages, we were able to secure additional funding to support some of the extra activities that will take place this year as they relate to the charter reform broadly and more specifically to the upcoming election. So I'll pass it back to you, Kim. Thank you.
And with that, one of the things I hope you do is that when you look at these numbers, I'd love for you to look really super close, because what I hope you see is you. I hope you see me within these numbers, because that's what they represent. It represents an investment into community. It represents the city's commitment of investment into community. These dollars are part of supporting life here. And I believe we all have that as our priority. Thank you.
Thank you. And does that complete the presentation?
Yes.
Very good. Colleagues, any questions at this point? Commissioner Mapps.
A quick question. I was just looking at the ordinance. I don't know if it explains why it's an emergency.
You want me to take it? Yeah.
So we were working really hard to get those scopes of work done, but because there were just some challenges for the district coalitions to correct bylaws within the neighborhood associations and their own to make sure everybody was actually grouped appropriately, that was a large portion of their work this spring. And then also putting their budgets together based on the neighborhoods that they were going to be representing. So those new totals pose some different challenges from them for a legal and budgetary perspective. And so we were working really hard with them in March and April to be flexible to get the scopes of work done and adjust their budgets accordingly. So we've just been working through our attorneys to get the reviews done and through before the end of the fiscal, and this is as quick as we could get it done, but we want to make sure that we execute immediately to get the funds out to those district coalition offices so that there's no service disruption.
Okay, well, I may at some point ask the city attorney to clarify if that counts as an emergency for our purposes. And here's where here's why I ask. I actually don't exactly know what's going on here, but I do notice that I think that the heads of all four of our coalitions have signed up to testify today. I don't know if they're here to say, this looks great, or if they're going to raise some concerns. If they raise some concerns, obviously I want to hear the nature of the concerns, and if we need maybe another week or so to talk, I may want to create some space to have those conversations, which may mean I vote no, depending on what we hear in public testimony. Again, the point of that no vote will not be to derail what happens today, but rather to create some space for continued conversations. If we hear some feedback from the folks who actually do this work, that there are ways to make this better.
To clarify, we did invite them here today.
Okay.
Because our office pulled it so that we could have this more open discussion. So we asked them here.
Great, I appreciate that. So I may be a yes vote, and I am eager to hear what the district coalitions have to say. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Very good. With that, we have public testimony. Why don't we hear the public testimony, and then we might ask a couple of follow-up questions. Thank you.
First up, we have Darlene Garrett.
Welcome, Darlene. Thank you for your patience. We appreciate it very much.
Can I ask a question, just a
Commissioner
procedural
Max.
question? At least for the people who are in the room, would it make sense to have them come up at the same time? Totally, I would I'll leave that up to the mayor and to the folks.
It's up to you if you'd like to come up at the same time. That's fine. Go ahead and announce the other individuals.
Darlene Garrett, Jonna Davis, Nancy Champlin, and Allison Stoll.
Great.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Darlene Urban Garrett. I am the Executive Director of the new District 4 Coalition. Is there feedback there? Are you hearing? Okay, good.
It's a little funky, but we hear it. Thanks.
Okay. I'm here to ask you and to thank you in advance for continuing to fund and support our wonderful neighborhood infrastructure. I am disappointed and sad that it got removed from the consent agenda, but I'm thankful that you're going to continue to consider our funding needs. Through funding the district coalitions, we can continue to support our army of volunteers that make this city great. Through this funding, you show support for the thousands of volunteers who so willingly serve us every day. In the District 4 Coalition, I am showing that I have about 14,000 members signed on to and belong to neighborhood associations. I work with 33 neighborhood associations with 14,000 members estimated. We know that there are a few people in this ecosystem that choose to create issues for all of us. And because I'm working with so many neighborhood associations, I feel compelled to let you know that there are only a few, and I can think of 3 or 4 right now in that 14,000 that are, for lack of a better word, somewhat of I'll call them disruptors in a way. I can't, and you can't either. We can't do anything about that. And so many times I do learn from the people that bring their issues forward. So I don't want to denounce that, but I want you to hear that the neighborhood ecosystem doesn't have a lot of problem folks in it. It only has a few. And there are so many more that are working for our city every single day to do what you need them to do and what they need to do to take care of the communities that live within the boundaries of their neighborhood association. I want to thank Murad Ratbi and Kimberly Dixon of Civic Life. They are amazing staff. I want to thank my own amazing staff. I want to thank Jonna Davis, Nancy Chaplin, and Allison Stoll, and the other district coalition directors. This was not easy, and you know it. The transition has been difficult for all of us. And so not all of us stepped out on our best foot forward as this transition has been taking place. And by tripling my organization's size, I'm working to keep caught up. The district representatives and Murad and Kimberly and Haley, we collaborated, we argued. I'm done, I guess. Is that right?
Mr. Mayor, can I?
Commissioner Maps, yes.
I have a quick question. Would you mind, in like 30 seconds, just wrapping up your comments?
I only have about 30 seconds.
All right, go.
Okay, I just wanted to say we collaborated, we argued, we discussed through the thick and thin. We were able to create a scope of work. We were able to create budgets, all but limited, but we created budgets that can work for us. We created your new district coalitions as requested. I want to thank you for allowing me to speak. We look forward to Portland's future. Thank you.
Just,
Mayor, oh, go ahead.
just a quick question, so I'm clear. So you support the ordinance before us today?
Oh my gosh, yes.
All right, great.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
And so do the 92 neighborhoods or 93 neighborhoods that are out there.
Great.
That's a lot of people that you're serving with this budget.
Thank you so much.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Mayor, I just had a quick clarification. So this is invited testimony? Or was, I was
Haley, is
confused
this
by the way
invited
this was
testimony or
teed up.
are these?
They asked if they wanted to come, that they could come, but they're not.
Okay.
Technically invited. Okay, that's why we have a time limit. That's all I was trying to clarify. You know, we've had a little bit of uneven in the length of the presentations today, and I think that's something we need to think about. I certainly, if someone's invited or encouraged to testify, we might give them a little bit more time and tighten up some of the other presentations that we've heard this morning. And I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Gonzalez.
Next up, we have Jonna Davis.
Good afternoon, Mayor Wheeler and commissioners. My name is Jonna Davis. I serve as the Executive Director of the District 2 Coalition Office, the Northeast Coalition of Neighborhoods. I'm here today to ask for your support of item 635 to approve the contracts to ensure services to our neighborhood associations and community-based organizations. In 2019, I had the wonderful opportunity to return to full-time work in public service in inner Northeast Portland in the same area in which I previously lived for decades. And while much of the area has changed over the years, the legacy of the community impact of the Northeast Coalition of Neighborhoods has remained. Northeast Coalition of Neighborhoods continues to be a community staple, a place of gathering, a place of shared resources, a place where many old and new can come together and work on issues near to our hearts. We have and will continue to partner with groups far and wide to fight social, economic, racial, environmental, and climate justice, as well as address land use and livability concerns and the many, many other issues that our neighbors face. As you have already heard, in January of this year, NECN began meeting with the community members about the changes to the DCO program. Despite the challenges, we, along with the 3 other district offices, stepped up to the plate. We have been working tirelessly ever since without receiving additional funds for the transition. Now, we need the city to honor its commitment to quickly execute the contracts so that we can continue this much needed work. Any delays in contract approval will hinder our ability to continue our efforts to help make this transition a smoother transition. Our current and future programming will suffer. Cuts may have to be made to this agency, which is already stretched very thin. And that's why I would definitely say this is an emergency ordinance and qualifies, it more than qualifies. Council members, as Portland continues to grow and evolve, we expect that improvements to the neighborhood program will continue as well. The District Coalition's offices have and will continue to stand ready to serve. We have and will advocate for diverse voices to be included in the stakeholders working on this transition. We will work alongside the Deputy City Administrator, the new commissioners, the Bureau, and Civic Life to continue this work. And let me say, I owe a huge thank you to our Bureau Director, Interim Director Murad Ratbi, and our Program Manager, Kim Dixon, for being so readily available to meet with us and to answer our many, many calls. And so if I might, in the next 10 seconds, wrap it up, I'd like to also thank the City of Portland, the City Council for bringing this ordinance forward. And I strongly urge you to proceed expeditiously to approve the contract for the work we've already begun for this fiscal year. It's imperative that the District Coalition offices be empowered to move forward quickly as the fall season is just around the corner and there's important work to be done to support our neighborhoods and assist with the much needed voter education and outreach. You've called us here to help. We're here. Let's go.
Next up, we have Nancy Champlin.
Thank you, and good afternoon, Mayor Wheeler and Commissioners. My name is Nancy Champlin, and I'm here today as the Executive Director of Southeast Uplift Neighborhood Coalition to thank you for considering a grant to support our services to the neighborhood associations and community-based organizations in the new City Council District 3, as well as to administer the Community Small Grants Program for groups that will lead community building projects throughout the district over the next fiscal year. First, thank you for your steadfast leadership in navigating Portland's transition to a new city structure as we all prepare to usher in this exciting new form of government. Thanks also to the leadership in the Office of Community and Civic Life, Interim Director Murad Ratbi and Program Manager Kimberly Dixon and her team, as well as Haley Blonsley in the Mayor's Office for helping us to navigate these uncharted waters. My key takeaway for you today is that this grant is an excellent and very cost-effective investment in continuing a critical piece of Portland's civic engagement infrastructure that this year marks its 50th anniversary and has become a model that has been replicated in other cities throughout the country and beyond. It will provide resources necessary for us to continue to build more informed, inclusive, and participatory communities that will encompass just over a quarter of Portland residents. For example, the grant will fuel our work to educate district residents about the changes coming to how Portlanders will elect city leaders starting this November. It will help us support the thousands of volunteers engaging in our district's 19 neighborhood associations that do things such as organize community cleanups, host movies in the park, run plant sales to keep neighborhood community centers open, and to create a conduit through which any resident may learn how to advocate for a safer, more equitable, more resilient, and more livable neighborhood. In addition, through our fiscal sponsorship program, we will provide the training and technical assistance that will build the capacity of over 30 groups that work in service to the people throughout the district. And through the Community Small Grants Program, we'll continue to invest in the dozens of grassroots-driven projects that do things such as cultivate youth leadership, enhance arts and culture, promote housing stability, address the impacts of climate change, and help our neighbors to become more food secure. With your continued support, the City of Portland will reaffirm its commitment to fostering the civic fabric of our city, which is a critical aspect of a healthy democracy. On behalf of all your District 3 neighbors here in Inner Southeast and Northeast Portland, Southeast Uplift looks forward to continuing this work in support of the common good. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm available for any continued conversation as Council determines is needed.
Thank you.
Allison Stoll.
Good afternoon, Council and Mayor. My name is Allison Stoll, and I'm the Executive Director of Central Northeast Neighbors. Everybody always says she's been doing it the longest. I've been doing this work for about 34 years. I started out as a crime prevention coordinator and moved into the executive director job. I'm not going to go over what everybody just went over other than to tell you that it is so important that we continue this work. There are so many changes happening right now in Portland. We've just gone through the challenge of COVID, and now we look at the challenge of electing 12 new commissioners and a new mayor, and how to educate our folks in a very short time on ranked choice voting. We're doing that work, and we would like to continue to do that work. And for us, that means getting this funding through. We also provide for all of our neighborhood associations and CBOs that ask for a nonprofit so that they can go out and increase their funding through grants. And in order to find those grants and get those grants, they need a nonprofit to be working with. And that's exactly what the coalition offices do. We provide that opportunity. We also provide insurance to all of our neighborhoods and even some CBOs that are part of our coalitions. This is through liability insurance and also directors and officers insurance. This is so important for these organizations to have because we can't even have an event in a park without that insurance. And so I would just say to you that over my years of working with all of these neighbors, I want to thank the thousands of volunteers that have worked for this city, and the amount of money that has been given to these volunteers is really minuscule, and yet it comes back to you. I think I heard earlier today that the amount that volunteers are, whatever money it is like $34 and something cents. Imagine how much money, she just told you there are 14,000 members. That doesn't mean population. That means people who have actually signed in at a neighborhood association and are part of. How many hours they're giving to the city and how much money is coming back to you. And now with my last 30 seconds, I'll just say, like everyone else, I'd like to thank my volunteers. I would like to thank each of you for your service. I know that your terms are coming to an end, and so we're going to be getting a whole new group of folks. But thank you so much. Thank you, Commissioner Ryan and TJ. Thank you, Mayor and Haley, and thank you, Morad and Kimberly Dixon, and thanks to my fellow coalition directors. We've all worked really hard, and we want to continue that work. So please vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate everybody's testimony. Is that complete testimony?
It does.
Any further questions? Commissioner Mapps.
Yeah, I'll just jump in here. I want to thank everyone who testified today. I'm delighted to see that everyone's in support of this particular ordinance. And I'll let my colleagues know that if we call the vote, I'll be voting aye.
Great. Thank you. Keelan, call the roll.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Maps.
Aye.
Rubio.
Aye.
Ryan.
Well, I have to say a little bit more than I. It was quite a year. We only had the assignment for 1 year. And I do want to also acknowledge TJ McHugh for the leadership. And it was a lot of culture change that we had to do to prepare for where we are today. And so one thing you can count on in life and change, and one thing that we ask of all leaders is to be adaptable. So thank you all for being adaptable. Your testimony today is well received, but I've also listened to you along the way in this journey. It hasn't been easy because it's been a lot of change. And I know when we had the assignment, we were doing the best we could to figure out how to take what the voters approved and the 4-district model and then make that adaptable so we could hit the ground running when everyone is up here, 12 people up here plus a mayor. So it's really important that we did this very difficult work. And I want to thank Murat and Kimberly, especially the two of you, for hanging in there. I've been at a few spirited meetings out in the community. And so anyway, we handed off to the mayor's office at the beginning of 2024. So I'm a little bit less versed on the last 6 months. But I just want to acknowledge that I'm experiencing how far this has come in a short period of time. I vote aye.
Wheeler.
Well, I want to thank all of our district coalition folks for being here today and showing their continued support. Thank you for the great work that you do in the community. You were here earlier today when we were giving hearing a report from our net volunteers, and you heard us talking about the importance of civic engagement, the role that community plays in community, and you're central to that. And so I'm very happy that we're in a position that we're able to continue to press forward, to respect the work that is being done at the neighborhood level. We have a lot of work to do, but I believe these are important steps in the right direction. I want to thank you. I want to thank staff, Annie, Murad, and Haley, for your terrific work on this. And we will continue to push down what I think is a clear path forward for better service delivery in our neighborhoods. I'm very happy to join my colleagues in voting aye. The ordinance is adopted. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your patience.
Yeah.
I actually like attending these.
We have good news for you.
That leaves me speechless. Yes, we're not done. Please feel free to take a
File
seat.
for council seats, you know, it's...
All right, colleagues, we'll move on to the next item on the regular agenda, item 653, a first reading of a non-emergency ordinance.
Amend contract with Gresham Automotive Incorporated, DBA Gresham Ford, to increase not to exceed amount by $5 million for purchase of vehicles.
Michael, I'll turn this over to you.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. This item is an ordinance. It allows the Chief Procurement Officer or their designee to execute a contract amendment with Gresham Ford to increase the not-to-exceed amount of the contract by $5 million, taking the total contract value to a not-to-exceed amount of $27,500. The item is brought to you by City Fleet. They are the group that maintains and purchases vehicles for all city employees for their work. And as you know, vehicles age out from time to time, and there is an optimum moment as vehicles lose value and as the cost of maintenance increases, there's an optimum time to replace vehicles. And aside from that optimum time, there are fairly significant vehicle shortages by the suppliers of these vehicles, in this case, Gresham Ford. And the window for placing an order has gotten smaller and smaller to be able to get vehicles delivered at the appropriate time. So Fleet has asked for this. It is a relatively routine item. We do this from time to time to be able to have Fleet have an active purchase order in place so that they can replace vehicles in a timely manner. Ray Clayton, the business operations manager from City Fleet, I believe is online, and Deputy City Administrator Sarah Morrissey, overseeing city operations, is also here if you have questions.
Great. Colleagues, any questions? Any public testimony?
Sorry, no one signed up.
This is the first reading of a non-emergency ordinance. It moves to second reading. Thank you. Next, item 654. This is an emergency ordinance.
Authorize settlement agreement with the Portland Police Association and Cheryl Waddell to resolve a grievance and employment discrimination claim involving the Portland Police Bureau for $29,571.
Colleagues, this ordinance resolves a claim filed against the city in November of 2023 and a grievance filed in January of 2024. Deputy City Attorney Lisa Rogers and Senior Claims Analyst Rose Radich are here to walk us through the ordinance. Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. As the Mayor just mentioned, my name is Lisa Rogers and I use she, her pronouns. First, my apologies for appearing virtually this morning, but I do have a bit of a cold and I didn't want to spread it to anyone who is in person today.
Sorry to hear that. Thank you.
Thank you. The settlement before you today resolves a Portland Police Association grievance and employment discrimination claim from current Portland Police Bureau employee Detective Cheryl Waddell. After evaluating the facts of the claim, the City Attorney's Office and Risk Management Services assessed there was risk to the city on the employment claim, which warranted a global resolution. The global settlement includes the union's dismissal of the grievance, Detective Waddell's agreement not to file her employment discrimination claim, and Detective Waddell is entering into a global release of claims, although there is one small exception to that release that's very unlikely, but I can explain that if any of you have any questions. In exchange, the city will provide Detective Waddell back pay for on-call and coaches pay, totaling $24,571.36, and $5,000 in attorney's fees for a total settlement of $29,571.36. The Police Bureau, Risk Management, and the City Attorney's Office believe this outcome is in the interest of the city and recommend approval of the settlement. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Colleagues, any questions? Is there any public testimony on this item?
We have 2 people signed up.
All right.
First up, Mark Porras, Portland Cop Watch.
Hi, Mark.
Is Mark signed up for this one or the
Oh,
next
wait.
one?
Yeah, I think I'm signed up for the
yeah.
next settlement.
Sorry, my mistake.
okay.
No one signed up for this item.
No one. This is an emergency ordinance. Please call the roll.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Maps.
Although I also want to add that the facts of this case suggest that there might be cause to look at the Bureau's procedures in situations like this. But having said that, I vote aye.
Rubio.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye. The ordinance is adopted. Next item, 655, an emergency ordinance.
Pay settlement of Kelsey Ulmer bodily injury lawsuit for $11,500 involving the Portland Police Bureau.
This ordinance resolves a lawsuit filed against the city in July of 2022. Deputy City Attorney Kerry Caldwell and Senior Claims Analyst Joseph Jesse are here to walk us through this ordinance. Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Kerry Caldwell, Deputy City Attorney. This lawsuit arises out of injuries to Mix Ulmer during a June 30th, 2020 protest near the Portland Police Association building in North Portland. Mix Ulmer was among a large number of protesters who remained near the PPA building after the PPB had declared an unlawful assembly and ordered the crowd to disperse. PPB injured Ms. Ulmer's tailbone, backside, and leg when it eventually dispersed the crowd. Mix Ulmer filed a lawsuit against the city of Portland and Multnomah County Circuit Court on July 7th, 2022, asserting claims for battery, assault, negligence, and false arrest, all resulting in the aforementioned physical injuries. The parties negotiated and agreed on a settlement of $11,500, inclusive of plaintiff's attorney's fees, to resolve the claims. PPB, Risk Management, and the city's attorney's office recommend approval of this settlement, and I'm happy to answer any questions to the best of my ability.
Very good. Thank you. Colleagues, any questions at this point? Public testimony?
Yes.
Right.
Mark Porras, Portland Cop Watch.
Mark, welcome back.
Thanks. Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Mark Porras, he, him pronouns, and I'm with the group Portland Cop Watch. We understand the parties have come to an agreement, and we have no objection to the city paying $11,500 to settle this bodily injury lawsuit due to the harmful actions of PPB Rapid Response Team Officer Brent Taylor and other Portland police officers. It's been over 4 months since we last testified on a police brutality settlement stemming from the 2020 protests. The total for 2020 protest settlements alone is now more than $2.565 million. The total dollar amount and average settlement cost may seem low compared to other cities, but the number of lawsuits is high and it continues to rise. According to court records, on the evening of June 30, 2020, Kelsey Ulmer was at a protest near the PPA office on North Lombard Street. Shortly after Ulmer arrived, a line of officers in riot gear charged the crowd. When police charged, Ulmer turned to run with the crowd to avoid being attacked by the officers. After Ulmer took a few steps, police shot them 3 times from behind with impact munitions. Court records say that Ulmer was yanked off their feet and landed on their tailbone, causing immense pain. An unknown officer then dragged them backwards by their collar, and 2 officers knelt on them while they were being handcuffed, and Ulmer limped to the police car. Ulmer was arrested, but no criminal complaint was filed. Court records say Officer Taylor testified that he fired his impact munition weapon 40 to 60 times within just a few hours that day, and videos depict him frequently firing multiple rapid shots into the crowd. 4 days prior to this incident, Judge Hernandez signed a temporary restraining order restricting the exact unnecessary use of force that PPB's Brent Taylor used on Kelsey Ulmer. His actions on June 30 violated the order. We're encouraged that Officer Taylor does not appear to be on the newly reformed Rapid Response Team. However, from the explanation we heard at the press conference announcing the new RRT, it is possible that Taylor could be called upon to assist at future protests. Judging from his track record, that should be as disturbing to you as it is to us. Independent Monitor LLC called for a transparent introduction of the new RRT. Instead, PPB conducted a hastily assembled news conference without notifying community members, including, we believe, the Portland Committee on Community Engaged Policing. This is important because at a June 3rd PSEP meeting, Chief Day said he was not sure how the introduction would happen. At the following week's PSEP meeting on June 10, with PPB members and a mayor's aide in attendance, nobody mentioned the press conference that would occur the next day. At a recent Citizen Review Committee meeting, Chief Day questioned whether it even makes sense to discipline officers for actions that occurred 4 years ago. That attitude is disturbing for many reasons, not the least of which is that these dangerous cops should have been disciplined and in some cases fired long ago. It is also why it is so important for the new police oversight system to be entirely free of influence from police and their bargaining units, including in the nomination of board members. As always, we appear before you with the hope that you'll discuss the policy decisions that lead to these incidents of police brutality, and we look forward to learning how we can be sure that the new rapid response team will be different from the old one when it is staffed by many of the same members that caused so much harm in 2020. Thank you.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Mayor, I just want to say I strongly object to continuing to platform abolitionists that cannot testify on the matter before council. We have done this for a year and a half while I've sat on council. They have no constitutional right to testify on matters not before us at this point. They're welcome to sign up for public testimony at the beginning of council. And we have repeatedly platformed this nonsense. So I strongly object going forward. That's it.
Thank you.
Juan Chavez.
Oh, great. Here's number 2.
This is the lawyer, I think.
Juan Chavez.
I think he submitted in writing as alternative.
Okay, that completes testimony.
All right, any further questions or discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Maps.
Aye.
Rubio.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye, the ordinance is adopted. Next item, 656, an emergency ordinance.
Amend contract with West Tech Construction Incorporated for $1,839,574, including contingency to construct additional improvements on Northeast 46th Avenue and Northeast Columbia Boulevard for the Northeast 46th Avenue and Bryant Street Local Improvement District.
Mike?
Mr. Mayor, this is your last item this morning, or I should say this afternoon, so I'm going to turn it directly over to Deputy City Administrator Priya Donapal and a very patient Andrew Abbey, who's here.
Thank you, City Administrator Jordan. Mayor and Council, I'm Priya Donapal and the Deputy City Administrator for Public Works. And thank you for your attention to this item. The Northeast 46th and Bryant Local Improvement District is providing street, stormwater, and sewer improvements through 2 phases of construction. The formation of this LID has also laid the groundwork for TriMet to establish its 4th bus base and secure a significant $25 million federal raised grant for the operation of electric buses in the city. This project exemplifies efficient collaboration between TriMet, private property owners within the LID, and our city's infrastructure bureaus, PBOT and BES. And by leveraging these partnerships, we achieve substantial economies of scale and maximize the project's impact. Council awarded a construction contract on November 15, 2023 for the first phase of the construction work. Currently, construction is underway. The LID administrator recently executed an extra work agreement to add additional sidewalk and frontage improvements to the LID, fully funded by Baker Petroleum, which will reduce the sidewalk coverage gap in the Cully neighborhood. This amendment also includes additional work that TriMet has requested. To optimize construction efficiency and minimize disruption, we propose consolidating these efforts and amend the construction contract with West Tech. This will accelerate the delivery of street improvements at competitive rates using the contractor that is already mobilized on site. Additionally, this contract amendment marks a pivotal step forward for our community. It will transform the southern end of Northeast 46th Avenue from a gravel road in an industrial area to a more accessible thoroughfare, benefiting local small businesses and residents. I'm pleased to now welcome Andrew Abbey, Local Improvement District Administrator, to provide additional details and answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Deputy City Administrator. I appreciate that introduction. I'm Andrew Abbey, Local Improvement District Administrator. So as she mentioned, this construction contract is already underway. We were fortunate that after we started construction, I had a property owner in the LID that came to me and approached me for additional frontage improvements because they're going to be building a new small business at the intersection of 46th and Columbia, and it made a lot of sense for them to have their sidewalk and their frontage improvements done. So the key reason for bringing this forward to you is twofold. Number one, we don't want to have two phases of construction at the 46th and Columbia intersection. And we also, right now, we have Columbia Boulevard neck down from 4-lane to 2-lane. Of course, we're putting in a new traffic signal so people don't have to run across Columbia Boulevard without a traffic signal. So we just didn't think it made sense to have two contractors working at the same intersection. We thought it made sense to pull some of the second phase construction work into this contract and at the same time take care of this newly developing small business in the Columbia corridor. The other urgency to this ordinance before you, and I will just note that the ordinance does increase the LID funding by $800,000, and in the exhibit, TriMet is requesting these changes and has agreed to this additional LID funding. The other urgency is last night I was pleased to join TriMet at a celebration. TriMet was just awarded a $25 million raise grant to actually develop the Columbia bus base. And on top of that, they got another federal earmark of $5 million for the site prep of the Columbia bus base, bringing the total federal investment to $30 million. And it's important for us to be able to build the fencing work and the embankment work along the south edge of the Columbia bus base. So when they start that work, all of that will be secure. And then again, we don't have two phases of construction along Columbia Boulevard where we're slowing freight traffic and people passing through the area. So if council approves this ordinance between the federal grant and the increased LID amount to $15.3 million, the total investment, local and federal, not including TriMet's site development work that isn't funded by the federal grant, will be $45.3 million. And when this project is all done, TriMet will be able to build a better bus system with battery electric buses and renewable sources like wind, solar, or hydropower powering those buses instead of diesel. So this is part of climate action and climate justice and bringing much needed infrastructure improvements to the Coley neighborhood. I hope you'll approve this emergency ordinance today, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Very good. Colleagues, any questions? Any public testimony?
No one signed up.
All right, this is an emergency ordinance. Please call the roll.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Maps.
I want to thank Andrew and Priya for both their patience and their presentation today. I'll tell you, I've seen a lot of lids come out of Andrew's shop, and they're consistently great. And this is one which I and the entire city should be really proud of. Great way to start your first and Deputy DCA. It's a great way to start what I hope is a long career here at the City of Portland. I am glad to vote aye.
Rubio.
Aye.
Ryan.
Welcome, Priya, and thank you, Andrew. What's not to like? I vote aye.
Wheeler.
I always feel sorry for you. You always get stuck at the end of the agenda. But you probably know more than just about anybody else because you tend to sit here and listen to the agenda. So thank you for your patience as well as your stamina. I vote aye. The ordinance is adopted. Please read 657.
Amend water code to align with the amended city charter approved by voters in Portland Measure 26-228.
Colleagues, I'm referring this back to my office. We're adjourned.